Jay Crawford, Adam the Bull, Garrett Bush, and so many big names, it would take me hours to say all of their names. The ultimate Cleveland sports show. Booyah.
And then there were two, and we're hey, it's green for St. Patrick's Day.
Hey, remember our show used to be green like that?
Yeah.
When we first started?
That's true. We were. Nothing says St. Patrick's Day like a Jewish guy and a black guy. Here you go.
There it is.
There it is. Do we have anybody who's Irish? Jay! What? Honey, I Shrunk the Jay Crawford. What happened?
Ant-Man.
Jay will be here soon. Jay's not Irish.
Jay just texted me and said, hold on a minute. Everything on Lakeside is closed, which, by the way, Director Steve texted us last week. I mean, yesterday saying, coming early, you know it's going to be closed.
That's right.
McNuggets, Director Steve walked me out to my car and said it 8 times. You know, G. Lakeside will be closed.
G did get here early. He did, for him.
I was like, man, let me get over here, bro. I said, they ain't going to catch me today.
So Jay's running a little late, unfortunately. Well, Jay may be Irish. I mean, I can't remember if he's Irish or not.
I think we asked him. I don't think he is.
I don't think he is. I think he's Italian or something.
You know what the best thing in the world is?
Yeah.
See, everybody thinks they know what their heritage or lineage is.
Yeah.
And I did DNA testing one year. And they be trying to tell you, like, everybody got this mythical Indian guy or Sacagawea is your cousin. Yeah. And I took the DNA test and they came back, and I came back as black.
That doesn't say black on it, does it?
Like they're like, you
It was disappointing that you didn't have anything weird in there. I remember when I got mine years ago, maybe I've made this up, but I could have sworn that when I was a kid, my dad told me that we had a relative from South Africa.
That's exactly what happened.
And I'm like, when I did my DNA, I'm like, I'm going to be 10% black. I love it.
You ready to go?
I was like, that's cool. I can brag about being 10% black.
Just explain stuff.
And then I get it back, and it's like 99.9% Ashkenazi Jewish. I'm like, that's boring. And then I'm 0.1% Neanderthal. That's all I am.
They were like, your whole people are from the Congo.
Yeah.
I was like, okay.
I wanted to be spread out a little bit.
I wanted to have somebody that was like German or maybe you were 5% Irish or something you didn't know. No,
I got none of that either.
Zero.
But anyway, the bottom line is, though, you don't have to be Irish to celebrate St. Patrick's Day, especially in Cleveland, because everybody goes out and gets wasted.
Yes.
That's basically the plan.
Has your injection ruined your appetite for things that you would eat? Like there's, sauerkraut or corned beef stuff. Like
I don't know. I mean, the injections don't have full effect yet. So what about you?
No, they don't even know it yet. But I think Adam the Bull started his journey, and it worked so well for him. I just pulled up and told my doctor I want the same shit he got.
He started the weight loss
I said,
injections too.
I just went to the doctors. I want the same thing he got. And he was like, who's your friend?
Yeah.
I was like, Adam the Bull.
We haven't talked about that in a while. How's it going?
Yeah, it's going so far so good. I haven't weighed in this week just because things have been a little crazy. But
I said, give me
it's going well. I took my injection yesterday. I'm doing it I did the first 2 in my belly, then I did it in my arms.
Does it count?
Why do they move it?
I just chose to. You can do it in 6 different spots. Your belly. Either side of your belly.
Effectiveness, just
right. I
so
just
you don't
did
get
it
one area
just so I'm not hitting the same. Right. Because actually, the first time I did it in my arm, I had a black and blue. Although I did it yesterday in this other arm, I didn't get a black and blue. I think I did it too hard the first time in my arm.
The angle is, you have to get a good
angle. The right angle, yeah.
Yeah, like going straight in, don't work
Have you started it yet?
No, I haven't.
Not yet.
I said I'm supposed to start it either today, if it comes, or tomorrow.
Yeah, because you had to work out all the insurance stuff. It's complicated with
Insurance covers it?
Oh, no. Oh,
no?
Listen.
It did for me.
My insurance
the prescription
didn't.
I got. But he and I have different health insurance.
So I went to him, and my doctor was like, sure, I'll prescribe it. So
I mean, it's not free. I'm not getting it for free, but
it's greatly reduced.
It's greatly reduced. Yeah,
$1,500 for a 30-day supply.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Is what they told me.
Yeah, originally. You're right. You ended up getting it cheaper, but still, it's expensive.
Still, you ain't just about to get that.
Yeah, it's crazy.
We need to be in the pharma business.
That's crazy.
Mike's waving.
Wait, by the way, you're not Irish at all, are you?
My dad is, yeah.
Oh, your dad.
From my dad,
I thought I
from my dad,
that.
Irish. From my mom, Italian.
So,
See,
but I said
that's a volatile mix.
Yeah, but that's a common mix.
It is a common mix.
It's a common mix.
Yeah.
Especially where I grew up in New York. Like half my.
Are you at all?
No, I'm not. But like half of my friends growing up were like either Italian or Irish Italian mixed, and it was just pretty common. But as we were saying, you don't have to be Irish to celebrate St. Patrick's Day. Everybody's out there going bananas.
By the way, we may have some CPD join us a little bit later.
Oh, really?
So everything's closed.
Did they let you
coming
through?
to Lakeside, and so I pulled up to one of the cops and I go, hey, I really need access to Lakeside. I've tried East, I've tried West, I can't get there. He said, you're on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show.
Yeah.
I said, yeah. He goes,
nice.
Yeah. He goes, you start in 10 minutes. I go, help me through. We'll have you on as a guest. He's like, hey, I'm doing parade duty. If I can get free, I'm down there though. So
that worked.
Shout out to the cop.
He didn't even say, hey, you're Jay Crawford from First Take.
That's right.
It was Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show.
Or Channel 3.
Which, by the way, I think I told you guys early on, like I always gauge, like, so obviously when I first left ESPN, all of my recognition was First Take, ESPN Sports Center.
Yeah.
I've been here for almost 4 years now. I can't believe that. But here in town locally, it's pretty much a mix. It's probably more Channel 3. Mm-hmm. But if I'm at a game, Guardians, Cavs, Browns, it's
I bet the
ESPN.
older fans, it's more Channel 3, and the younger fans maybe.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But what's interesting to me is when I was in Arizona, and by the way, I think all of Cleveland was in Arizona when I was there.
Yeah.
The Guardians games were very well attended.
Yeah.
There were a really good number of folks that came up and said, love the sports show.
That's awesome.
Keep doing it.
Yeah.
Now,
That's
most
great.
of them were from Cleveland, but I would always ask where you're from. And some of them would say, well, I live here in Surprise now, or I'm in Glendale now, but I lived my whole life in Cleveland, and I found the show, and it makes me feel like I'm close to home.
That's cool.
That is really cool.
That's what we're going for.
Bulls Bet is on deck.
Yeah, I've done some future betting this week, but one of my futures that I bet this week panned out. Right, Mikey?
It did. Bull bet a 13 would be to 4, and in the very first 13 over 4 matchup of the March Madness tournament, Furman.
Got that out of the way
And the
early.
other 13, Louisiana, came close also.
Almost.
Yeah.
Louisiana was a team I told you guys was a potential upset in the first round. Bull bet on Kent State, +4 against Indiana, and today's bet has nothing to do with the NCAA tournament. But as always, it is brought to us by Bet Rivers. Bet Rivers Online Sportsbook is the place to be for every single game. Right now is the perfect time to join Bet Rivers Sportsbook. When you use deposit code SPORTS, you'll receive a second chance bet up to $500. You can get in on all the action with weekly specials on your favorite sports like basketball and hockey to help you win big. Check out BetRivers.com or download the Bet Rivers app today for the latest lines, odds, and boosts.
What do you got?
All right, so today's bet, I'm actually going with a game that's taking place today. It's in the World Baseball Classic.
Oh, good.
I'm going Mexico over Puerto Rico. Now, this could backfire because maybe Puerto Rico kind of plays for Edwin Diaz.
Yeah.
But the whole team was shook by that incident.
No
they
question.
were crying on the field.
And Mexico has overachieved.
And they're good. I mean, Mexico's got
a nice
major league
roster.
talent.
Yep.
I think Mexico and Puerto Rico are pretty even talent-wise. They're both in that second tier of teams.
Right.
You know, that has
Mexico has Arozarena.
Yes.
Puerto Rico, though, they've got some big
They do,
big
but
name
I
talent.
just have a feeling that they are going to be really affected by that. That's still on their minds.
Yeah.
And they're not
Or
going to
they
be at
could
top of the
turn
game.
it to say we're going to rally for
It
Edwin.
could go either way. Mexico's actually a slight favorite in the game because they're -118. So I'm going Mexico to move on in the World Baseball
You've
Classic.
got a couple games at play today because you also have Kent,
I
Indiana.
have
And he has
3
Maryland
games
women.
today.
Oh,
I have
that's
Maryland
right.
women against Holy Cross. I have Kent
Wow.
+4.
So
and then
where are you, like 9 and 10?
9 and 10, Mikey?
9 and 10.
So by day's end, you could be 12 and 10.
I could be. Well, I
and
could be
in the
9
money.
and 13. That would
Could
not
be. No, let's not think that way.
No,
Let's
no.
not
12
think
and
that
10. I'm feeling a 12 and 10.
All right, very good. Busy show. DeQuell's coming on at 11:30.
Yep.
The Browns did have another signing, Trysten Hill.
I had
once
never
upon a
heard of
time-
him. Had you
I
guys?
hadn't either.
No.
But when I read about him and saw that he was a second-round draft pick,
Yeah.
I vaguely remember that. But
Yeah.
I
He was
remember
a
him
bust
at
in
all.
Dallas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't remember him at all
Yeah.
in the NFL. Played with the Cowboys last year, split time with the Cowboys and the Cardinals. So we'll do that. We're going to have fun, though. Explain what we're doing off
Love
the top
this
here.
game. Love
I
this
think it's
game.
going to be fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we learned on Monday that no one really cares about March Madness on the panel besides me.
Yeah.
So we figured we'd turn March Madness into a football discussion. So we picked between myself, Anthony, and Earl, our 15 favorite value deals of the first week of free agency.
15.
16,
and one
16.
grenade.
Yeah, 16, right?
Oh, there's one grenade
Oh.
and 15 real ones, but we had to throw one in there just
So
for
it's
fun.
essentially it's a
Sweet 16
bracket for the free agent moves
Yes, now this is
or trades.
from Monday through this morning.
Okay.
Deals had to be made, no re-signings. Teams or players that move teams, and we are going to put them up. We're going to discuss which deal we like better in terms of value. Now, you can take value however you want.
Right.
Whether that's you signed the best player, I don't care what the price is. Whether that's a
or
guy
you
who
got
hasn't
a
proved
guy with a
himself.
lot of upside for no money.
Exactly.
Okay.
So value's in the eye of the beholder.
Who's the 1 seed?
So we picked 16. So initially we had 30, and then we cut down to 16, or
Right.
really 15 plus a grenade, and then put it in a random number generator because we didn't want to seed them ourselves.
So they're not ranked, really.
They're not ranked.
They're not
These
ranked
are not
based on
1
anything.
versus
Got it.
16. This is just 16 in a random number generator.
Let's do this exercise. What would your number 1 seed be if you were seeding the 1 through 16?
I mean, off the top of my head, I don't know. I think.
Well, no, don't say off the top of your head because that's going to give away your winner.
Well,
right, that's true.
Perhaps. I mean, not if we all had a different answer.
Well, I guess we'll find out.
Yeah,
by
we will
whichever
find
one
out.
wins.
So we will find out. Yes.
All right, let's see the bracket.
So with this, I guess we'll call it 1 versus 16, but really they're not ranked.
Yeah.
Steve, take tag board full.
Okay.
What's a better value deal? The Giants trading a 3rd-round pick for Darren Waller, or our grenade pick, the Buccaneers signing Baker
I was
Mayfield?
about to say.
Yeah, it's got to be Waller, although I think both of those are really good deals because really you got 8.5. It could be on a $4 million price tag.
Real
Now,
quick, the numbers we put up there is the max total, just because I don't want to get into specifics.
So the specifics on Baker is he's costing the Buccaneers $4 million, which is half of what the Redskins guaranteed to get Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, I'm going to go with Waller in the end because I think Baker has just shown you for 2 years he's just not that good. I think Kevin Stefanski got the best out of him for the back 2/3 of that one season. He was fine as a rookie, but I just don't think there's been enough consistency. Darren Waller, when healthy, now the health is a big if, but when healthy, he's an elite player.
He just hasn't been last year.
Hasn't been.
Was not.
No.
You know, I want to hold judgment on mine. I'm going to hold fire for a second. I want to hear where G goes. Because I think the Baker deal, for what little amount of money they're spending and what impact he could have, again, it's almost like you're buying a scratch-off lottery ticket.
Yeah, I think if you get Baker for, say, for instance, $4 million.
Which is what the price tag was.
You know, the price tag, you'll kick the tires on him. Maybe you get him in and he could do something a little bit later or he gets comfortable. It's not like he's going to not be playing with good players. He has a good receiving core.
He does.
Has a solid offensive line.
He needs a running back.
He needs a running game.
Who knows? Maybe they signed Kareem Hunt.
I thought that would be a good move. I'm going to edge it to Darren Waller. And the reason I just edge it to Darren Waller because Darren Waller has not been on the field in like 2 years. And you got to think about it like this. There was a time period where he just kind of flashed. Like his first 3 or 4 years, he wasn't really the guy who.
Well, he didn't play a lot earlier.
He didn't even really play a lot.
But he had a stretch there where he looked like a Pro Bowl tight end.
For a stretch, if you was asked tight ends, he was up there with Kittle and Kelsey.
What were his numbers last year? I thought he played more than.
No, he did. He played like 7.
He wasn't effective.
He's played, I believe, 17 games over 2 years, so half the games the last 2 years. The 2 years before that, 19 and 20, he averaged about 1,100 yards and 9 touchdowns.
See, that's
for a tight end.
So we could be looking at a player that's on the decline.
Could be. I mean, but his numbers were still good when he played.
I'm going to buck you guys. I know that we'll lose because it's 2-1.
Yeah.
But I'm still going to take Baker, and here's why. The incentive clauses in his contract means he hit all of them, and maybe, I don't know what they are. Maybe they're start 14 games, throw for 2,500 yards. I don't know what they are. But the Buccaneers are hoping like hell that they have to pay him $8.5 million.
Sure.
If they have to pay him $8.5 million, that means he's hit all of their escalators. So if you're getting a quarterback that's going to be healthy and start and is going to hit your performance numbers for $8.5 million, sign me up.
Yeah, I just don't think.
Sign me up.
I'm not even convinced he's going to start.
You're betting against his success.
Yes.
What I'm doing is I'm hedging the total price tag for Baker and saying, I'll take that bet.
I know, but even if he does play okay, I still think he's a bottom 10 quarterback, and that doesn't do anything for me.
You know, I'm drunk by what he did last year
I get it.
for the Rams. On 2 days in that system, he came in and threw the ball all over the place.
And if he had played great the whole rest of the time for the Rams, I might have.
Had he played great the whole rest of the time, and by the way, he was without 2 starting linemen, Cooper Kupp. He never threw a ball to Cooper Kupp. If he had his pieces, I think Baker Mayfield's in the 10 million plus range today. But he did not play. Overall, if you just look at his numbers and you didn't watch the games, if you just look at his numbers from the Rams, he was a bust.
Yeah.
And he was in Carolina too.
All right, so Darren Waller moves on.
But it is Darren Waller moving on.
Darren Waller is advancing.
And really quickly, Big Nuggets, one reason I throw Darren Waller in there is because you pay Daniel Jones. You still need to figure out about him. They don't really have guys out on the outside that are threats.
No.
And at least if you can get something out of them, it looks on paper that it's going to be something for your quarterback.
It is an if with him with health, but if healthy, he's probably there. He leads them in targets.
How old is Waller?
31.
Oh, he's that old.
Wow.
He might go over the cliff.
Yeah,
I mean,
you said earlier.
He's 30.
Okay.
Oh, 30?
Well, will he be 31 at the start of the year, though, at the start of the season?
Okay, yeah, he turns 39.
So, Bull, your number for wide receivers was 31. That you don't want anything to do with him after 31.
Yeah, no, generally. Yeah. I mean, I'm not convinced he's great. I don't. Neither one of those guys was going to be moving too far in this tournament.
Yeah.
Baker being a former Heisman winner, former number 1 pick, that's why the guy's going to stick around the league, because just like I'm enamored by what his ceiling is, I tend to let his ceiling drown out his floor, and that's a mistake.
Right.
You shouldn't do that.
This is his last chance to be a starter.
I believe so.
If he can't beat out, I know you're
right.
If he can't beat out Kyle Trask after losing his job to P.J. Walker last year,
over.
He's finished as a starter, and then he's got to accept the backup role.
And I think he's finished because I think the NFL teams would make the assessment that this guy doesn't have a backup mentality.
Right. That's right.
And that would wash him out of the league.
Right.
Okay, so Waller moves on.
Waller moves on to the to the Elite Eight. This is our 8-9 matchup. The Chargers signing Eric Kendricks to a 2-year, $13.5 million deal, or the Titans signing Arden Key, 3 years for $21 million.
You guys go ahead.
Give me Kendricks. I like Kendricks a lot. I was hopeful that there might be some interest here.
I mean, money-wise, it's basically the same
Money-wise, it's a wash because it's $7 million per.
Yeah.
And we're not obviously looking at any cap hits or structuring of the years of the deal.
Yeah.
Just on talent alone, give me Kendricks.
Man, this is a rough one. I could flip a coin. Arden Key is somebody that I liked as a defensive lineman. I'll go with the Eric Kendricks just because it is a shorter 2-year deal, right?
Right.
When you're a linebacker, I like getting linebackers on shorter deals because I'm not really wrapped up in the cap number, and if I have to move from them, okay, so be it.
I like that too. Flexibility down the road.
I'm going to lose on this one because I like Arden Key. Now, I love both guys. To me, I wish they were both against somebody else because I love both these deals. I think didn't I have both of these guys on my Browns perfect offseason?
You did. I also had Key on my ideal.
I had both of them. I love them both. The reason I'd go Key is because even though I like them both and think they will be good, Kendricks is still descending. He's on the back end, whereas Arden Key is on the upswing.
Which is why he got a 3-year deal,
right?
And Kendricks got.
But I got no problem with Kendricks, so he moves on.
Okay, all right.
That was good.
Yeah.
Next one, 2 big-time signings here in our 4 versus 13 theoretical matchup. The Bengals signing Orlando Brown to a 4-year, $64 million contract. Or the Bengals signing Draymond Jones. Seahawks, signing Draymond Jones. 3 years, $51 million. And once again, we did not see these how we wanted. We did a random generator.
Right,
this is a big-time,
these are
heavyweight, blue blood
I would
matchup.
have these as top 4 seeds.
I would too.
I think they're amongst the biggest deals financially. And again, if you pare it down on the per-year salary, it's very, very close. It's very close.
Good gracious. I'm going to go, listen, I like to move. I'm going to go with Orlando Brown. Here's why. I actually think the Bengals got better. I think Jonah Williams is playing left tackle, right?
He was.
Well,
in fact, he wants to be traded now.
Orlando Brown is an upgrade. It almost seems like they kind of fell into their lap because the Kansas City Chiefs moved on. And so you can look at that 4 years, $64 million. It's something that I didn't expect them to be able to upgrade at that position. He kind of came out of nowhere. And if I look at the Draymond Jones signing, the thing that I think Draymond Jones is a little hard for me is because I don't really think he's a perfect 4-3 guy or a 3-4 or 4-3 end. So basically, he's not a nose, he's not a 3 technique, but he's really not fast enough and more of an edge rusher in a 4-3. So if you're playing a 3-4, it makes sense. I don't think he truly fits in a 4-3 scheme. And so I like to have a guy, I don't like putting a guy up there who's not going to be rushing the passer or is not going to fit in a 4-3. I like Draymond Jones in a 3-4, so I like the move, but I like the Orlando Brown move better because I think it's something that actually made the Bengals better with.
I'll be quick because I know you're going Orlando Brown, so it'll be a sweep. The one thing I'll say is what would give me pause is that Andy Reid was ready to move on. Andy Reid is from a judge of talent. Now, I know some of that had to do with Brown's demands.
Right,
but
they actually
spent more money on a younger guy.
Right, but they actually offered him a bigger contract than this last year, and he turned it down.
Right,
he made a mistake.
Well, he did make a mistake last year, and in watching this whole thing, whenever Andy Reid moves on from a player, it's kind of like when Belichick moves on from a player.
Mm-hmm. The Browns just signed Juan Thornhill.
Well, I know, but I think that's a position that we've seen Andy Reid have great success in the draft. Yeah. He'll just go out there. He'll pick another guy in the draft that will start next year.
Yeah.
And you won't miss a beat because that's what he does.
Yeah.
But I'm still going to go with Orlando Brown, even though I found it fascinating that there were a number of other teams in the league that view Brown as a right tackle now and not a left tackle. But the Bengals got tremendously better at probably one of their weakest positions.
Yes.
So.
Yeah, I mean,
thumbs up.
I like both guys, but the bottom line is this. They're the same age. They're getting paid basically the same money, although Draymond Jones is getting, I think, $1 million more per year.
Barely.
Draymond Jones has missed at least 3 games in 3 of his 4 years. Yeah. Orlando Brown has not missed more than 1 game in any year. Brown's a 4-time Pro Bowler. Draymond Jones has never been a Pro Bowler. Yeah. And you could say, well, the Pro Bowl could be overblown, but 4 times – I don't think Orlando Brown.
How many All-Pros? Any?
No All-Pros.
Okay.
So he's not super elite. He's not the best of the best.
But he's in that second tier.
Yes, and again, the Bengals went from a below average left tackle to a good left tackle.
One of the best.
Yeah.
Okay, great. We've got that figured out.
Our 5-12 matchup, a typical upset matchup here in the bracket, includes a Brown signing. Dalvin Tomlinson, 4 years, $57 million, or a first trade in the region. The Dolphins trading for Jalen Ramsey, giving up a 3rd-round pick and an unknown, or a relatively unknown tight end.
What's Ramsey's contract? What's his deal?
He's making a lot of money this
I know
year.
he is. It's going to sound like a homer pick, and I think Bull will call it that.
Yeah.
I think we've decided that Ramsey is not Jalen Ramsey. Sometimes we have to divorce ourselves from the player and their skill set.
Yeah.
When you see the name Jalen Ramsey, it drove Twitter nuts. Twitter was going crazy. Oh, the Dolphins are all in. They're not getting Jalen Ramsey of 5 years ago. They're getting a Jalen Ramsey that we watched 2 years ago and said, what he does is he gambles a lot because in the old days, his makeup speed was there. Mm-hmm. Now those gambles are turning into touchdowns.
Yeah.
So I don't think he really does a whole lot for the Dolphins.
No, I'm actually with you here. I don't think it's a homer pick. I think Dalvin Thompson is the right call. Now, I don't think Tomlinson. Excuse me, I said Thompson. I don't think he's a bargain. I don't either. I think he's fairly. I don't think he's overpaid. I think he's fairly priced.
That's why I asked what Ramsey's annual was because the Dolphins are on the hook for that. So it's they only gave up a third,
$100+ million.
So they gave up nothing, but they took a huge amount of cap on.
Right, they did. And while I don't think Tomlinson's a bargain financially, I think at this point, I think his play is still going up. I think Ramsey's going off the cliff this year.
Yeah, I agree.
So I wouldn't have given up anything for him. And while a 3rd-round pick is not huge, it's not nothing.
No.
So I'd go Tomlinson here. So that's going to win. But
well, listen, this clean sweep on this one, and I think it's actually in a landslide. I agree. When you look at Jalen Ramsey, people forget he was in with Jacksonville. When his prime, when they were really doing their thing, remember when Jacksonville went to the AFC Championship game?
Yep.
They were locking everybody up. So for me, He was in his prime there. They traded him to L.A. He was still decent, but I started to notice, like you said, a couple years ago, teams were not shying away from him. The first thing is he plays physical, but if they don't let you play physical like that, and the refs are not going to let up and not give you that benefit of the doubt, you're in trouble. And then the thing that really got me was his speed. I was reading the article, and I had mentioned that, you can move people from corner to safety. And when I found out he had volunteered himself to play safety, I said, "Oh, corners." He knows what it is. He knows it's about time. And Tomlinson fits a need at the highest level for the Browns. You look at Jalen Ramsey. I mean, they could put him out there. They already had a couple good corners as well. I don't think this is even really that close. A third-round pick in the tight end. I'm gonna go with Tomlinson because I think he fits the bill.
Clean sweep.
We got to move into the Elite Eight.
He's moving on. A clean sweep. Our next matchup includes a Brown signing and a Brown loss. Juan Thornhill, 3 for 21, or Jacoby Brissett as a starting quarterback in Washington, 1 for up to 10.
G, you want to start on this one? This was tough for me.
Very tough. And I'm not saying they overpaid Jacoby, but Jacoby is getting a nice chunk of change. That's a nice $10 million.
By the way, he's already been declared the backup.
Yeah, that's a nice chunk of change.
Brissett.
Really?
Yes.
Yeah, they got who they got? Sam Howell.
That's crazy. Washington has already come out and said Howell's our starter,
and so they're paying for that.
Which is surprising. Why they?
I honestly
look. It's one thing to say that.
Yeah.
It's you obviously have a competition, or you wouldn't have brought in such a high quality backup.
I honestly don't think either should be on the list
of the top 16 moves.
No.
Wow.
No.
Okay.
Thornhill is a borderline move.
I think I like Thornhill, but you could argue he's a little overpaid.
I'm waiting to talk to Darren.
That's true.
Darren's going to be on. Yeah. I'm going to figure it out. Because sometimes when you deal with really good teams that got good systems and structure, sometimes those players could be a product of that system and structure.
That's true.
And really don't really bring what you saw on tape unless you got that structure. I like Thornhill. I'm a edge the Thornhill move because I just like the fact that it's $7 million per on average. And you was already paying John Johnson $12 million, so you cut some cap room and so you got some more space. And you didn't break the bank because we didn't even really think in-house that safety was a major need.
No, which is why I am going to give the edge to Brissett. 2 reasons, and then I'll let Bull settle who wins on this move. Number one, I have to be consistent here. I think that if Washington ends up getting their starting quarterback on a $10 million ticket, as much as I loved the Baker for $4 million, I still love Jacoby at $10 million if he ends up being the starter. So again, you're taking a flyer on a guy. Clearly, even though they said Howell is their guy, they must not think that, or they wouldn't have gone with a backup quarterback that can push him like he will. The Thornhill thing, I don't know, because I blamed a lot of JJ3's problems on the system he was playing in. I still think he's a better player. I think we're going to see that next year. I think we're going to find out, just like we did with Troy Hill, when he goes back to a system that plays to his strengths and asks him to hit the pitch that he loves to hit, he's going to be a more productive player. So on that move, I have to edge out. And it's really bad for the Browns because it's the player we lost versus the player we gained.
Yeah.
But Bull, who moves on here?
I'm going to move on Thornhill because kind of like I want to be consistent with what I said with Baker. I mean, like, Jacoby Brissett did a nice job last year. I don't take that away from him. But he has a track record, and he's not that – he's, to me, a backup quarterback. At best, he's a bottom-tier starting quarterback.
Yeah.
A bottom-tier starting quarterback does not move the needle for me. Now, I think these guys are going to leave out maybe other safety deals that were better than Thornhill's, but I have to pick one, so I'll go with the Thornhill.
There were some other safety deals that, for me, moved my meter more. Now,
Yes,
I don't know. Maybe they're going to be on the list down the road.
But I'll go Thornhill, so Thornhill moves on.
Okay, Thornhill moves on. So we got 2 Browns in the Elite Eight.
2 Browns in the Elite Eight. We have 2 more first-round matchups. We're going to bring DeQuell in for our second and third-round matchups of the queue. I see you in the queue. We'll get you in 1 sec. Matchup number 8 of the first round. The Vikings signing Marcus Davenport to a 1-year, $13 million prove-it deal The Browns signing Ogbo Okoronkwo, 3
You
years,
put
22.5.
okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, give me Okoronkwo, and that would be 3 Browns.
You guys got 3 Browns. That's really
that would be. And listen, I don't know.
Market.
But listen, there might be 3 in the Elite 8 bowl, so you can.
Yeah,
you know,
that's a bad job out of you guys.
Yeah, but are you not going to put? Who are you going to put through on that deal? I like the Okoronkwo.
I don't even understand why Marcus Davenport's on there. I don't know what these guys are doing.
I thought that's one of the best deals. I actually love that deal for them. A 1-year prove-it deal, 13? In a pass rusher market, that's a steal.
Yeah, well, if he ends up being great, you know what? You say goodbye to him after this year. That's why I don't like that deal.
Right.
Because you're betting that he doesn't have success. I don't want to do that.
Right. That is essentially what you're doing.
Yes.
Like you're betting that he's going to have a great year, and then you're not going to be able to sign him.
Yes.
Because you only signed him to a 1-year deal.
Right.
I'm going to go with the young OG move. That's easy to me. Yeah. The Browns signed him up for 3 years, $22.5 million. From what I've seen on tape, from some of his explosiveness, his moves, his pass rush ability.
And because he came on so hot in the second half of the season, to me, Joe Thomas said something when he was on with us a couple of months ago about a light going off.
Yep.
Yeah.
And you can watch the guys sort of meander, and then all of a sudden, boom.
I'm going with Ogbo.
I think that's what we've seen with him last year.
Ogbo it is.
Moving on.
Sweep.
We have 2 more first-round matchups that we're bringing to quad. Count it.
Oh, okay.
This is number 7. Jesse Bates, the biggest deal ever for a safety, 4 for 64. Broncos signing Mike McGlinchey. They needed a right tackle, but they gave him a lot of money.
Yeah. I don't like either.
I think they both got overpaid.
That's why I don't like either one of them.
I'll take Jesse Bates because I think Bates is better at his job than McGlinchey is at his. And McGlinchey, I don't really love either deal.
I don't either. I don't like either one of these.
I'm changing my mind. I'm going with McGlinchey. I don't like either one.
Yeah, I don't either. I would go with Bates only because it's shorter, and if it turns out to be bad, they can get out of it easier.
I'm gonna go with Bates because I think like
Bates
he's better than McGlinchey. And
he is. Yeah, you're right. I'm flip-flopping again.
All right, so it's a clean sweep.
$87 million.
That might be the first topic we've ever seen you change your mind on twice.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money for a safety.
That's a lot of flippity-flop. It's a lot of money for both of them. I don't love either deal.
I got 3 good free agent moves that are better than half the ones we put on.
One of them might be in our last one.
We have
What's our last
2 more
matchup?
here.
Oh, I thought we had one more.
Our last matchup with 2 moves.
Right, one more.
Steve, whenever you're ready. This one might hurt, Bo. I'm sorry.
Yeah, good.
No, all right.
I wanted both of those names. I'm like, where's Bell? Where's Hargrave?
Well, there they are. Only one can advance.
Von Bell was one of the 3. To me, it's Von Bell. I like Hargrave, but he got paid a boatload of money. I mean, I honestly think Hargrave got overpaid. To me, Von Bell is better than Juan Thornhill and only made $500,000 more per year. So
I'm going Bell too.
I'm going Bell on this. I think
Hargrave. If you want it to sweep, the reason being, I think that Hargrave was a product of the guys that were around him.
Hargrave is very good, but he's not. I don't look at him as a super elite.
But he was surrounded by really, really good
players. And he's really, really good too.
He is.
But
he helped elevate the.
But he ain't Aaron Donald.
But he's not Aaron Donald. And he's it's kind of close to Aaron Donald money. It's not.
I mean, Payne, to me, Deron Payne was way better than him.
Agreed.
And when you look at it, you're going to pay all that money. Now, if you're the 49ers, if it was between doing that and getting a quarterback, give me the quarterback, bro. If we got to pony up and trade somebody.
You know what I think Shanahan, though, has convinced himself of after last year?
He can win with anybody.
I'm so good as the quarterback whisperer, I can take Mr. Irrelevant and get to within a game of the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
That we'll be okay there. I will coach you up, whether it's Trey Lance or whoever it's going to end up being. Yeah. I think he now is in that space where he says, "I got this."
Yeah. Yes.
Give me a quarterback with a healthy arm.
I think you guys left out 2 good ones.
What 2 do you think we left out?
Andrew Wiley, offensive line with the Commanders, was a much better deal than the McGlinchey one.
Mm-hmm.
And you left, and I hate to give them credit, but I love Patrick Peterson with the Steelers.
Yeah, you love him more than I do.
I couldn't believe you left that out. He was.
Listen. In full disclosure, we did want to include the Browns moves. We are a Cleveland show. See where they fit in.
I'm not even saying the Browns.
No, I would have left off. I might have even left off Jacoby Brissett.
I would have left off Jacoby. You could have definitely left off McGlinchey.
Fair. We want to get some of the big ones in there.
Thornhill. I didn't think Thornhill belonged, but whatever.
But guess what? For the next round, we are going to be joined by someone who knows a thing or two about free agency.
DeQuell.
It is DeQuell Jackson, and DQ is brought to us today by BetJack. BetJack is Ohio Sportsbook. Download the BetJack app today. Get ready for all the action. BetJack, it is Ohio Sportsbook. What up, DQ?
What's going on, fellas?
How you doing, DeQuell?
Doing great. I hear you guys talking ball. I'm happy to do it with you guys, man.
Really
I just got back from the beach. So I'm ready.
Really quickly, DeQuell, you running. How's your rehab going?
It's going good, man. I'm starting to jog now, so that's good. So I was on the treadmill yesterday. I ran 2 miles, and walked 2 miles. So it's getting there, just building the strength back. But it's not all the way there, but I'm jump roping, and at least I'm running right now. So I appreciate you asking.
Good, very good. All right, we're to the quarterfinal stage now. There's 8 teams left in our Sweet 16 style free agent trade bracket. Any thoughts on who we moved on in the first round? I don't know if you got to see all of it, though. Probably didn't.
Yeah, I think you guys didn't choose Javon Hargrave. I think that was one of the last ones you guys were talking about. And I thought he was – listen, I think he's exactly what – I would have moved him to the next round just because I know the knock on his play. He had 11 sacks last year. The knock on him was he was a product of the guys around him, but that's what you want. You want guys to benefit from, from guys around him. And now he's going to another place where Nick Bosa and he's going to another dominant defense. And, and listen, you want guys. The Browns wish they had a guy like that can benefit from a Myles Garrett and his double teams and the attention that he grabs. So I think it goes both ways, but I would have moved him along just for that reason. You can pair him with great talent around him, and he'll be successful.
Yeah.
DeQuell, hopefully the Browns have gotten that guy with Dalvin Tomlinson, who they signed.
Yes.
So hopefully that will be. But all right, let's look.
Our graphics made for round 2 already?
We are. Anthony and Tagboard have been killing it. Him and Earl doing God's work
Smoke
back
is
here.
coming from that graphics machine.
They are.
Way to go, Anthony.
Our first Elite 8 matchup is the Giants acquiring Darren Waller from Las Vegas for a third-round pick, or the Chargers signing Eric Kendricks, a linebacker. DQ, something you know a lot a lot 2 years.
We could have a tie now with 4 guys on.
That's true.
We'll have Director Steve be the tiebreaker.
Director Steve.
All right, DeQuell, you want to start here? Do you like one of these moves over the other?
Yeah, I think even though Darren Waller hasn't been healthy the last few years, I think it works well for Daniel Jones and what they're trying to do. They don't have a lot of talent on the outside, but those short, intermediate throws, I think he'll be able to benefit from Daniel Jones and how they orchestrate that offense. I think I got to put Darren Waller up there ahead of Kendricks. As much as it pains me to do that, I just think, Darren Waller will get more. He will help more in that situation for Daniel Jones than Eric Kendricks going to the Chargers at this moment.
The linebacker fraternity is not happy with you right now, DeQuell. and I'm going to get in their good graces. I like both moves, but I'm going with Eric Kendricks. Mm-hmm. They're both older players, so, obviously there's potential for breakdown in both. But as you said, I agree, if both are healthy, that Waller, I would say, is probably more important than Kendricks. However, going into his age 31 season, I just don't think I have high hopes for Waller staying healthy the whole year. Kendricks has been more durable, so I'll go with Kendricks. I think it's tough, but I'm going Kendricks.
Yeah. G?
Yeah.
Man, I didn't even think I was going to go this because I really didn't even like the Darren Waller pick first round. But as I start to think about it, and I'm like, okay, they get Saquon, they hit him with the franchise tag. They have got nothing out of old boy they drafted that they traded for from Detroit. Who's that? They Kenny Galladay.
Galladay. One of the worst contracts ever.
I mean, they had got nothing out of him.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at it like if you could get half of what Darren Waller is, and you got a quarterback and you don't have skill positions, even if Eric Kendricks plays well, will you even know it? No, you just be like,
Well, but that's not fair. Then you could always dismiss any defensive player.
I think what he's doing is he's weighing the importance that a good tight end can have versus the importance that a good linebacker
I
can have.
I agree.
And that's the easy thing to do here.
But a good linebacker, it has become undervalued a little bit. But You look at some of these teams, some of these good linebackers, they make a big difference.
Yeah, they do.
They don't put the stats up that the tight ends
I'm gonna move Waller ahead.
Okay.
I like the Waller move just because they are so devoid of downfield targets and offensive playmakers.
Yeah.
If they can get something from him, that's huge for them.
Jay, we gonna have a tie, or you locking it up?
No, I'm going Waller too, and I think I'll. So they gave up very little to get him.
That's true.
But I can tell you, just from the last couple of years, I had him in fantasy a couple of years ago, and he was a huge difference maker. Last year, he was bouncing around roster to roster.
Yeah.
Guys would pick him up, cut him, pick him up, cut him. That scares me because now at over 30, you start to think, has he hit that spot where he's just lost his productivity?
Right.
But I'm still intoxicated off the player. He can be if he's healthy.
Okay.
So, and because the Giants didn't give up a ton to get him, and because of what he can mean to their offense, I'm going to go Waller too.
Waller moves on.
We have our first Final Four contestant.
Our first Final Four contestant. That is correct. Next one, an all AFC North matchup. Orlando Brown, 4 for 64, or Dalvin Tomlinson, 4 for 57.
Yikes.
Someone else go first.
Let me go first here, because to me, and I love both of these signings, but here's the bottom line. You talk about importance. What's more important, a left tackle or a defensive tackle?
Yes.
They're making about the same amount of money. Orlando Brown would make $7 million more over 4 years. That's less than a $2 million difference. Again, Brown, a 4-time Pro Bowler. Tomlinson, I don't think has ever been a Pro Bowler. I like Tomlinson a lot. I love the move by the Browns, but I think Tomlinson's a good player. I think Tomlinson's like a tier 3 defensive tackle. I think Orlando Brown's a tier 2 offensive tackle. So that's why I got to go Brown.
DeQuell, where are you going?
Yeah, I think I have to go with the D tackle this time around because we talked ad nauseum about. I understand the left tackle position is definitely what the Bengals need right now with how they're able to be productive on the offensive end. You got to protect your quarterback. I get all of that, but right now we've talked ad nauseum about the Browns' inept ability to have any veteran presence from a D tackle standpoint. I ended up reaching out to a former coach who coached Dalvin last year. Well, he was in the building with him, and he said nothing but great things about him. Smart guy, just a really tough guy, solid veteran. You can bring in. He'll be great for the locker room. So I'm a little biased here, but I think in terms of need for the Browns, because I've watched them so much, I think this is a really steady. I would have loved to see Hargrave be in that position if they could have snagged him. But I think this is the next best option for a group that's inexperienced. And I think he can add just some veteran presence, some veteran play, and just consistency at that D lineman position group.
I'm gonna go ahead and kind of break it down on a little stranger route. So I'm gonna gauge this trade or gauge this bracket matchup by who's the alternative. So if they don't get Orlando Brown, you got Jonah Williams, right? He got some, he does not elite, but he's not.
So because the Browns suck at defensive tackle, it's a better move.
Listen,
but
that doesn't
that's pretty much what I'm saying.
G-Bush though just changed my mind. I was going Orlando
we have
Brown.
out of control Browns bias right now.
Well, I mean, maybe you have a Bengals bias.
You know, it was so cold.
I voted against Jesse Bates. So you guys talked me out of it.
He's not a Bengal anymore.
The analogy was so cold, he had to rebuttal before he even heard it. He said, "Damn, that's a good idea."
No, listen, G-Bush, it's kind of reverse logic.
Right.
But it's very, very true. So here's the deal. If you're thinking about asking a girl to a dance,
right,
and you got a girlfriend, and she's all right.
Yeah.
She's all right.
She's serviceable.
But now you decide you're going to try to upgrade and get you a 10.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, if you ask the 10 and she says no, you lose the 10 and the 7.
And the 7. And the
7. I just think it's a bad way to judge. We should be talking about the quality of the move.
Well, here
not based on.
You're right. But the quality of the move is sometimes determined by the importance of that position.
I know, but left tackle is way more important than a defensive tackle.
In a vacuum, you're right.
To the Bengals, it is. To the Browns, defensive tackle.
But if you want Togiai or Williams. Because that's your choices.
Okay, so if they signed anybody, it would have been.
As you can see, as you warm body, as you can see,
are we really going to have 3 Browns in the Final Four?
I'm going to
make the 3 best moves.
We
in free
cannot
agency.
because our next
That's
matchup
laughable.
is 2 Browns.
Oh, it's 2 Browns.
I'm going to have to go with
Well,
Tomlinson.
we're guaranteed to have 2 Browns in the Final Four.
You have to.
Let's get to that one. DQ,
okay.
if you want to start right now, a team for you, but a better deal for the Browns.
Definitely.
Juan Thornhill, 3 for 21.
No.
Ogbo.
Okoronkwo.
Definitely Ogbo.
Okoronkwo, no doubt.
They're getting paid
doubt.
the same amount of
No
money. Obo's got way more upside than Thornhill, I think.
Yeah,
Well,
no doubt.
what
No
are
doubt.
your
That's an
thoughts
easy.
on Okoronkwo?
I mean, listen, again, I'm going to go back to G's logic for a second. You got my head spinning about that. It's like, who else do you have? I mean, you have to find someone to be a step in and take some pressure off of Myles Garrett and what he can do. So, again, he didn't have a huge sack total last year, but obviously they see something in this young man that he can come in and be active and help to, again, this inexperienced D-line. You just need just need bodies to be able to go north and south. And maybe Schwartz, he's actually bringing in guys that he values that can play north and south. You know, you look at, I go back to Tomlinson for a minute. He was a 2-gap type of guy. Now with the new system, now he's able to penetrate and go up the field, and that's going to change the way guys play, your effectiveness. And I think this young man could definitely benefit from that.
By the way, I think these guys are going to now add potentially the Browns signing tight end Jordan Akins is one of the
put
best
him in
free
there.
agent moves.
Put him in. Now, here's the thing.
The Browns are talking with Jordan Akins.
Hold up. Before you go, Jay, this next matchup's going to make Bull really salty. So let's just get the salt in the wound.
Von Bell, Jesse Bates, right?
It's Von Bell, Jesse Bates. Which rank safety leaving?
They sent you to the East region.
That's not even close. That's definitely Von Bell. Jesse Bates is not 3 times better than Von Bell.
Yeah, I'm shocked at the difference in salaries, and it really makes you wonder
Bates
what
is
the hell the
better,
Falcons are
but
doing.
he's not 3 times better.
So as you see that, is that their whole start? That's their starting secondary, right?
Yeah, I don't care.
So
they'll find other guys.
So you feel
everybody worries about every single position too much. If you have a good defensive coordinator, he'll find guys. They're signing a safety. They're going to sign a veteran safety today. They drafted a safety in the first round of the draft last year. You can't sign everybody. It's okay.
So
okay if they go with JJ3?
I don't think they're going to go with him. They're talking with both of the Rams starting safeties from last year. They'll sign one of them, and they'll go with the kid they drafted in the first round. You drafted him in the first round, you got to play him. I was expecting it to be Von Bell and the kid they drafted. So instead, they'll take one of these Rams guys. We'll see if he's out.
That's a huge loss. That's a huge loss to lose two starters like that. Two guys contribute.
It is, but
to your team.
You're downplaying it.
When you got Burrow and the offense they do, I don't think it's that big a deal.
And are you going to, am I not mistaken, you're going to lose Mixon and P. Ryan, right?
Yes.
No,
P-Ryan's already gone.
Yeah, P. Ryan's
they'll
gone.
only
And
lose Mixon if they cut him. I thought they would.
They're not bringing Mixon back. There's no chance they're bringing him back.
No, I think they.
I mean, aside from
those charges were dropped.
Yeah, they were dropped, and it's a terrible look. It's a terrible look.
Teams don't care. I would cut him.
Teams don't care if the player is a Nick Chubb quality back. I'm not sure Mixon's
They're not
close
going
to
to cut.
that.
I think if they were going to cut him, they would have cut him already.
I think they're trying to do something.
The Bengals don't really do that. They rarely cut a guy that has any they'll save 7. The one thing I give the Bengals credit for, and the play is when most of their players get only a guarantee in the first year. But they rarely cut a player before his contract is up.
You know what I don't want to
rarely.
see happen? I don't want to see the Bengals sign Kareem Hunt.
Yeah,
I don't want to see that because I don't think Kareem Hunt is done by any stretch.
I think if they were going to cut Mixon, they would have already. So I think he is going to be there. I thought they would cut him, but
I still think they will.
But what are you guys going with? I'm going Von Bell, even though Bates is better.
I'm going Von Bell too, and I think just. Look, I know you're going to say, well, there's Browns homerism going on that we've got 2 in the Final Four.
Yeah.
But we weren't ranking them 1 to 16.
No.
It was a blind, random matchup thing.
In reality, if you asked most people around,
these are not 2 of the top 4 moves.
Right,
Not
it's
even
not 2
close.
of the top.
Not even close.
But But I like the moves, but they're not
good
you know,
moves. But the way our bracket played out, which was totally
random. It was completely random. I get it. The list.
And who cares? We're Cleveland show, so who cares?
Yeah. And that brings us to our first semifinal match.
Wait, did we didn't know we didn't get.
I'm going Vaughn.
Oh, you're going Vaughn.
Oh yeah, that was
all right. So
everyone said Vaughn. So Vaughn moves on. Our first semifinal, Final Four matchup. The Giants trading for Darren Waller. The Browns signing Dalvin Tomlinson.
I'll hold my fire on this, but.
Yeah, I'm going Dalvin.
You can start.
Yeah, Dalvin? I'm going Dalvin just from the simple fact, just the need of the position. Again, the need right now is taking precedent, and I am doing some little homerism. You know, I got a little homie in me right now, but I think it's tough because Darren Waller, again, the splash, if he's healthy, I think he's going to make a huge difference there with the Giants. But I think in terms of they needed someone, the Browns, at that D-tackle position, just a steady hand, and he's that. So I have to side with Dalvin, and it's by a thin margin though, very thin margin.
I'm actually going to go with Tomlinson on this one.
Yeah, I am too.
Yeah. Using the great standard deviation formula to pick these brackets. Do you want?
Which we've only used that formula for the Browns players.
Do you want Tommy Togiai or Darren Bellinger? That's the alternative.
Yeah,
I'm going to go.
Bellinger. Did you just call him Bellinger?
Yeah, well, that's who
the Giants tight end, Bellinger. He's not bad.
He's not bad.
Oh, you're talking about the Giants tight end.
No, he's going over, like, the strength of the new guy over what the replacement.
Bellinger's a decent tight end.
I don't like that analysis.
I think it's very important.
Jordan Elliott, I can't go into the season with them at all.
Yeah.
Like the best trade at the trade deadline in baseball will be whoever the Mets trade for as a closer, because it's an area of huge need for them now. And for the Browns, their lack of depth at that position
I understand what you're
was
saying.
so glaring.
I understand what you're saying, but you guys didn't take that into account for any of these other things.
No, because
don't pretend you did, because you didn't.
He didn't make that case until we were at Tomlinson.
And I just think that's a bad way to do this process. I think it's more about the quality of the transaction.
I think
it's not in the spirit of what we're doing here.
Yeah, but
the transaction, the player?
To me, I feel like it's like the guy. What we're doing is
you want us to look at it
sliding
in a
off second base and getting. Yes, essentially.
Yeah, but you can't look at it in a vacuum. But because this was such a huge area of need for the Browns, they addressed that area, and that means we don't have to see Tommy Togiai next year.
What'd you say, DeQuay? You had something. You said you was going to say something.
No, I was just saying, I mean, right now with all the transactions we're trying to, decipher through, again, I think Jay was going to allude to this. They had the biggest hole. So anyone that you slide into that category from a D lineman standpoint kind of gets the nod right now for me. And, we'll see how these brackets unfold, but it's getting very, very tough right now.
Very tough.
But I think we all say Tomlinson here, right?
And this one,
Hey, McNuggets, that's just a Duke and knee-jerk wild card.
It was a Duke and knee-jerk wild card. Let's
Reverse.
See if we have
Draw 4.
I'm interested. This next and final semifinal matchup is interesting because this is something we both have talked about as two of the deals we really like. It is Browns and Ogbo Okoronkwo, who I'll never say his name right.
You got it. That was it.
Von Bell. Similar money, similar years.
You got to go with Von Bell on this. He's a proven. He's a much more proven player.
I agree with that.
It's the same money.
Young OG. I can't look crazy. They be like, come on, bro, you got.
But you know what's funny about this? So our final matchup is a guy the Bengals lost versus a guy the Browns got.
Right. That is kind of crazy.
The Browns are going 14-3 next year, and the Bengals are going 9-8.
It could happen.
It could happen. It could happen.
So that brings us to our championship, and DQ, you get first stab at this, but it is the championship of our best value deal of the offseason, Week 1 edition. The Browns signing Dalvin Tomlinson or the Panthers signing Von Bell?
Jesus. Oh, man. I mean, I gotta stick to the hot hand, man. This is tough.
He's thinking about what it's going to make us look like.
Yeah.
And I am too. Because if someone asked me, was the Browns signing of Tomlinson the best move of the free agent period, I would be like, it would take me a 1/100th of a second to say no.
Well, as much as I like the Von Bell move, I don't think that's the best.
I don't either. So.
March Madness, baby.
Oh, man. I mean, Bell is obviously a proven guy. This is tough, man. I'm torn between these two. I really am, but I'm torn. G, can you help me out, G? What do you got?
I'm going. So I've went with names. I've gone with different things. I'm going to say, okay, on this one, my selective morality is going to be who is under the most pressure to win today. And because it is the Cleveland Browns and they have to win this year, the move to fill a hole because they have to move this year is bigger than the Panthers, who are in a rebuilding mode.
You'd make a hell of a defense attorney.
Yeah.
Wouldn't he?
I mean,
keep changing the argument.
To fit the narrative.
If you look at Von Bell, it's a safety in a rebuild. How much is a safety in a total rebuild going to help them?
Yeah.
I'll take the defensive tackle over the safety.
Yet you
because I got to
argued
win today.
Dalvin Tomlinson being more important for a team that was under 500 versus a Super Bowl contender that filled their biggest needs.
That is the way it came out, though, too, right?
Can we redo this whole thing?
Damn.
I really do think that Orlando Brown was of the ones that we showed.
It should have been double elimination.
But
for
you know
Orlando
what it came
Brown.
down to for Brown was the Bengals weren't.
They weren't dead.
God awful.
I did not expect them to sign
Here's the thing.
a tackle.
I didn't either. Here's the thing, though. What Jason Lloyd always brings up this stat, and it rocks me when I hear it. But he said the numbers and the analytics that the Athletics subscribe to, by one measure of run deficiency, the Browns are either the worst or among the 2 or 3 worst that there's ever been
all
since
time.
they started keeping that stat.
Yeah.
Which I think he said went back
crazy.
like 16 years or something.
Yeah.
So there again, it goes back to to how desperate the Browns were at that spot. Now, if this was Hargrave, I could say, oh, they had a big need and they filled it with a big time player.
Right.
I don't know that Tomlinson is going to be
He's a good
that
player.
guy.
No.
Good player,
So,
but not.
I mean, I almost feel guilty saying Tomlinson over Bell because it's going to mean that he's the champion of our bracket.
I'm actually, for all the complaining I've been doing, I'm actually taking Tomlinson.
Well, hey, so how would you grade?
Because as much as I like Von Bell, and I think he's a great leader and a culture change type of guy, I just, in the end, I think they're similar tier players and get, for their position, getting paid similar. I know Tomlinson's getting more, but defensive tackles get more.
They are, but I think we can say that both guys are getting top tier money for that position.
Yeah, they're getting.
That's the going rate.
They're both getting kind of appropriate tier for who they are.
They're difference makers
I'll take
at their
Tomlinson.
position, and that's what they get.
I think it's close, but I'll go Tomlinson.
So it sounds to me as if we're not all that confident with the free agent signings. If you were to attach a grade to the Browns,
I don't. You know what? That's a good point, DeQuell. I don't think anybody hit a walk-off grand slam.
No. I like Ogbo and Tomlinson both. I think they're both really good signings. Mm-hmm. I think Thornhill's solid. The other 2 defensive linemen they've signed are, lottery tickets with some potential because they were high draft
What'd
picks.
you call them on the call this morning?
Spare tires.
I thought that was really well said.
B+ overall for me for the Browns.
Yeah, I'm with you. I give them a B+ too.
I moved them from a B- to a B.
Okay.
I'm a B.
Yeah, I gotta say B-. I gotta say B- because that need. I thought they were going to land Hargrave, so make some splash there just to. You need a quick fix. I feel like this front office, this regime is under so much pressure this year to get over the hump and play better defensively.
Yeah.
I thought they were going to have a bigger splash, but again, you look at everything in totality. They have a collection of D tackles now. You still have the draft coming up. At the very least, they're creating competition within the group, and so we'll see who comes out of it in August in training camp. Because there's a lot of competition here, and that's what they're creating.
Well, they haven't even come with a linebacker. Like, I'm surprised there's
linebacker
no
or wide
linebacker.
Receiver right now is one of the biggest areas of need. Did Tomlinson win? Is it official?
Yeah. Tomlinson is officially our first inaugural free agency bracket best value signing champion.
We should send him a trophy of some sort.
That'd be great.
What we got? The People's Champ. We've got the People's Champ belt.
We've
got
Oh, I'm not giving this up.
You won that for your fantasy football. We've got, you know what? I've got it figured out. We've got Tyvus's national championship defensive player of the game trophy.
We could give him an old mitten, and there's a pitching trophy of some sort back here as well.
Oh wait, no, I got it.
MG, there it is.
I got it.
MGK bobblehead.
Welcome to Cleveland. You better study up on your MGK.
Does he have a new name now, or he just do new music?
No.
He's still MGK.
I wouldn't know the answer to that.
But he and his girl split.
If MGK were just a normal guy, would Megyn Kelly have even looked at him?
No.
If Megyn Kelly might have,
Megan Fox wouldn't have.
Yeah, you're right.
Megyn Kelly. Yeah,
Megyn Kelly.
Megan Fox would have walked into Target if he was working there.
Even Megyn Kelly wouldn't talk to him.
Nobody would.
She's pretty too, but not as pretty as Megan Fox.
Megyn Kelly is a assistant shift manager at Pat Catan's.
No, Megyn Kelly was a news reporter. Isn't it Megyn Kelly?
No, she's now working at Raccoon.
She used to be on Fox.
She did.
Wasn't it Megyn Kelly?
Then she went to NBC.
She's pretty also, not as pretty as Megan Fox.
Megan Fox is
Or she could be a 12th grader from Rocky River working at a Build-A-Bear in the mall.
Definitely.
All right.
Guys, it's March Madness. You know,
hey, congratulations
you guys
to Maryland.
What's going on?
Maryland.
Thank you.
That was a tight game yesterday.
Listen, I couldn't watch it all. I couldn't watch it, man. It was stressing me out.
I know.
But I knew we get one win. There's no chance they have a chance against Alabama.
No, they're not.
More importantly, I need the women to cover the 22.5-point spread today.
Ooh, they are for it.
How would you like to cover this spread, Steve?
Oh yeah,
our
South Carolina,
52-point
favorite over Norfolk State.
52 points.
Oh my gosh,
how bad is Norfolk State? Did they surprisingly win a tournament or something?
South Carolina hasn't lost. They're on a 38-game win streak, and they've crushed just about everybody this year.
But 52.
And she is not opposed to winning by 70.
Yeah, Dawn Staley's a monster.
Dawn Staley's the coach?
And
I
she
didn't
is
know that.
not opposed to winning by 70.
In a good way. I said that she's an unbelievable coach. She's a monster.
She's terrific. But she never lets her girls take the foot off the accelerator.
Fact.
I wouldn't.
No, I know.
Hey, DQ, one more thing before we let you go. Linebackers a need that the Browns have not addressed yet. Is there one potential free agent linebacker on the market still that you want to see
Wagner?
them go after?
Wait, is that what? Wait, I think you blacked out a little bit. Oh. My internet.
Is there one free agent linebacker still on the market you think fits exactly into a Jim Schwartz defense and one they should go after?
Who's left? So Vanden Esch, he's off.
Bobby
Levante David.
Bobby Wagner's available.
Oh yes. He's. Oh yeah. You have. Hell, man. That's an easy shoe in. That's veteran leadership. That's perennial Pro Bowl play. But he's getting on the other side of things. So he's an older guy. So I don't know how much you want to invest in. I mean, for a quick fix, yes. A 1-year deal, I don't think he's looking for a 1-year deal. I think he's looking for a multi-year deal. The guy can still run. But, I was a big fan of Levante David. I thought he could come in and be a really good, fit for this scheme and what Jim Schwartz wants to do defensively. But I know he just re-signed with Tampa. But they have to. I feel like at this point now it's on the draft. You got to either have some guys. JOK. You know how I feel about JOK. He's going to have massive improvements for them to, for us to see him on the field for 3 downs. I mean, massive improvements. You signed Sian Taki back. I thought you had competent play from him at the position. I think he's a guy you could definitely depend on. But again, they're lacking in that area. So, right now it's up to the draft. And if other than Bobby Wagner, who else is out there? I can't even think of a guy that you get excited about to bring in to know you can help this football team. So hopefully we score a lot of points.
Awesome. I that.
Thanks, DeQuell.
Thanks as always, boss.
DeQuell, have a great weekend, man. Good luck to Maryland and that beat down they're going to take against Alabama.
Hey, easy, Jay, easy.
Hey, the tournament is made for upsets, as we just proved. So
yeah, that's
you never know.
I got my brackets ready.
There you go.
There you go.
Thank you.
By the way, a couple of quick notes.
And then I got to read, then Darren, go quick.
The Brown. I mentioned it briefly, but we were kind of joking. So Jordan Akins, veteran tight end, visiting with the Browns. He did have a career high 495 yards and 5 touchdowns on a very bad Texans team. He's 30 years old. Another tight end you heard of, Cameron Brate, just got cut by Tampa Bay. And Isaiah McKenzie, who's an interesting receiver to me, just got cut by Buffalo.
Very interesting.
Yeah. What we doing?
Like
What's going on there? Why?
I don't know.
For what?
I just saw they cut him. I don't know why.
Hey,
we'll look into that real quick. We did ask the chat who they thought won our bracket. Whenever we ask the chat, it's brought to us by PCC Airfoils. So if you're looking for a job with career advancement and great benefits, well, PCC Airfoils is the leading manufacturer in Northeast Ohio. All locations of PCC in Eastlake, Menor, Wickliffe, Minerva are hiring for positions starting at $18 and up, plus full benefit packages and paid time off. You can apply online at precast.com/careers to learn more. And no surprise, Tomlinson crushed Bell 78% to 22%. And now it is the noon o'clock hour. We bring in Darren Smith. And on every noon o'clock hour, brought to you by Colleague Racing, the official NASCAR team of Northeast Ohio. What's up, Darren?
Darren. Where is he?
Well, I got to hit you up on the DM because I need to figure out, I need to find out what you're doing with that weight loss thing. So I'm going to hit you up after the show.
All right, man. Yeah, hit me up.
Darren, you can't have the best suits and be small. We might hate on that move.
Yeah, the problem is, Darren, you're going to need all new
That's
suits.
true. That's true.
That's the good thing about having a suit sponsor. that comes with the territory.
That's true. But it's obnoxious. It's a little obnoxious. Like Joe Thomas it's obnoxious that he's gotten so skinny.
Oh,
I don't think there's anything obnoxious about it.
I'm trying to be like you and Bull. I'm trying to make sure I live longer. But see, the problem I have is that
Agreed.
The problem I have is that Kansas City is a barbecue baron, and one of my sponsors is the OG, Ollie Gates of Gates Barbecue. So it's hard when I walk in and they give me free food.
Yeah, that is tough.
Devastating.
Hey, Darren, let's start with Juan Thornhill because you DM'd me. We were exchanging some messages the other day about Thornhill, and you said I'll quote you. You said you are gonna love Thornhill. Tell us why we're gonna love him.
Well, one, he's a smart professional football player. You know, you worry about character issues a lot of times dealing with some players, and Kansas City has had its fair share. Even if you want to look at Frank Clark with some of the issues that he dealt with even before he came to Kansas City and while he was here. Juan Thornhill is a player that you don't have to worry about on the field or off the field. He's a smart player. He's the first rookie to ever start in Steve Spagnuolo's defensive system, wow. And that says a lot because he doesn't like to start rookies. And of course, Trent McDuffie and a few others over the last couple of years have started in that system and excelled at it. So you have a smart football player for one. So him moving from Spags over to Swartz, it's a wash from where I look at. He's someone that has overcome adversity. When he tore his ACL in the season finale, or the regular season finale, the year that the Chiefs won the Super Bowl, he worked himself back into the starting lineup the following year. Now, he did get benched some because his play, because he was worried about doing damage. But even after that, helping the team get back to the Super Bowl, and then of course winning this year, he played alongside some great players in Tyrann Mathieu and Justin Reed. I just think that you all are going to get a ball hawk, someone who would plan with Justin Reed and be honest, be covering Tyrann Mathieu will lay the big hit, and he's someone that I think that fans will grow attached to. And like I said, above all, he's a smart football player. You want to worry about him on or off the field.
Darren, Jay says this all the time. He looks at it, the Chiefs, and say, if that organization and Andy Reid don't sign you or bring you back or go to another direction, it kind of gives him a little flag in his head saying, like, why is this guy not there? In the case with Thornhill, why did they choose not to bring him back? He seems like a young player. He seems to be heady in all the great attributes you mentioned, but they didn't bring him back.
I'm going to give you a little secret, and I've talked about this on my pregame show over the last couple of years. The Chiefs are doing the New England Patriots playbook, and what I mean by that is they're drafting well, and I can't take anything away from the scouting department. They've drafted well, they've hit well. If you look at what they did 2 years ago when after they lost to Tampa Bay, they needed to revamp that entire offensive line. They went out. The first person they signed was Joe Tooney. Second person they got was Orlando Brown in the trade. And then, of course, they had Lucas Niang, who they drafted the year before, but didn't play due to COVID. And then they drafted Creed Humphreys along with Trey Smith. All new offensive line. And, of course, we know what happened in the AFC Championship game against Cincinnati first time around. The reason why I say that is that they're drafting these players and playing them early, mix them in with the veterans so you get maximized value on a lower pay scale. So when it comes time for this draft class to come up, you're letting them get quote-unquote generational wealth with someone else to pay them. Because if you saw what they did last year, this past season, they drafted 10 rookies. I think 9 of them made the squad, and all 9 of them contributed throughout the season. So you got a lot of maximum value for a low price. So you don't have to worry about trying to bring a lot of your free agents back, because you've got players that you brought in to replace them that mixed in throughout the regular season and training camp and preseason, and now they're up to speed and now they're ready to go. And so you can spend money on key players. You don't have to worry about Mahomes, but he'll always restructure and do whatever. The idea behind that, giving them a massive contract of 3 years ago, was to keep players like Tyreek and Chris Jones and stuff. Issue with Tyreek, we know what that was, but it allows you to bring in a Juwan from Jacksonville, allow Orlando Brown to go somewhere else, and then if you want to, as we hear in talks, maybe trade for Larry Tunsil down in Houston, put him on the left tackle, then you put Juwan back on the right tackle, and now you're good to go when it comes to protecting Patrick Mahomes. You're hearing sounds about maybe DeAndre Hopkins in a trade to Kansas City and some of these other players. So the Chiefs are utilizing their money properly when it comes to trying to bring in big names that can continue to assist Mahomes. I got a few issues with it, but that's what they're doing. They're allowing their draft picks in the 2019 class, if they're not going to re-sign them, which I don't think they have any intentions on doing that, they're allowing them to go out and get the market and allow the market to give them generational wealth.
Darren, you mentioned Brown there a couple of times. What happened with that situation, and what do you think about Cincinnati signing him? Because I was surprised that they signed him.
Well, I'm surprised of where he ended up at, but I'm not surprised that he signed.
Sure.
I've gone back and forth with fans as it relates to his contract, and it's funny. A lot of people talk a lot of smack about Orlando Brown, but they tell him that he should have signed the Chiefs contract. Well, that contract is one of the worst contracts that he could have been offered, because he was offered a 6-year deal, $139 million with $30 million signing bonus, but only the first 2 years were guaranteed. So he would play last year under the first year, or maybe the tag. I'm not sure how that works. And then you got the second year, and then the Chiefs could get can get off from that contract after this upcoming season. So I look at it as a win for him, because he got more guaranteed money coming from Cincinnati. He made $16 million with the Chiefs last year. He gets a $31 million bank deposit on Sunday from Cincinnati with a signing bonus. So in a matter of a calendar year, he's made $48 million on top of what he's going to do, on top of what he gets this season and next season. So, I tell people, quit trying to count people's money. But he had to do what's best for him. And any agent worth their salt would not have had their players sign that deal that the Chiefs offered last year.
McCole Hardman. I'm getting a little scared here, Darren. Because we need a playmaker in the worst way. I know people still live in the 70s and 80s where receivers are a luxury, but I'm looking around and they're not a luxury. Unless you got Patrick Mahomes, you can't move that way. You got to move in a way that works best for you. Now, I'm not mad at what they've done so far. I give them B- to a B, solid in what they're doing. However, I'm looking at this market to see where's the speed coming from, where's the explosiveness. McCole Hardman is out there. Juan Thornhill reached out on Twitter like, "Hey, come on, let's get this done." McCole Hardman, what can he be? And for those who say, why would you take a guy who hasn't really lived up to expectations or has really blossomed with the best generational quarterback like Mahomes?
Here's the thing, and this is what people have to understand. And I know Jay has talked about this over the last week or so, that you all have gone all in with Deshaun Watson with his contract, and it's kind of what Kansas City has done. But granted, they worked out a deal where it's team friendly. If you're going to go all in, you've got to go all in getting the best wide receivers or getting the best amount of talent around them. With Patrick Mahomes, I can name. Look, you go with Isaiah Pacheco, Jerick McKinnon, Clyde Edwards-Helaire till he got injured, but then you go MVS, Juju, Travis Kelce, Blake Bell, McCole Hardman, Kadarius. That's 8, 9 players that I've just named that Patrick Mahomes had as it relates to throwing the ball and passing the ball around to. That's what you need to have as it relates to Deshaun Watson. So I would say give McCole Hardman. McCole Hardman is someone who stretches the field. The reason why his numbers didn't live up to what people may have feel like expectations, he was on the same squad that had Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce. and they were getting damn near 2,500 to 3,000 yards. You also had Sammy Watkins for 2 of his seasons, not actually for all 3 of his seasons that he was here. On top of, you had DeMarcus Robinson. So it's a situation where Andy and Patrick, they spread the ball around. So, when Tyreek would go down, somebody else would step up and get a chance to make a replace. Plus, Mecole Hardman was returning kicks as well. So you don't. So if you depend on how much he's on the field, there's only so much he can do. And if you have an offense, look, I know that you all have concerns about Deshaun. I believe in Deshaun Watson. I believe in what he's going to be able to do for you all. My biggest concern with what you all have is going to come down to the play calling, putting players in the right situation. I'm telling you, if you get a Mecole Hardman, someone that can stretch the field, perhaps if you all can somehow get DeAndre Hopkins, I think he might end up in Kansas City. I'm not going to complain if he does, but if you all can get DeAndre Hopkins or Brandon Cooks or someone, I think that's a good start. But you all need to have at least 7, 8, 9 players that you feel comfortable for Deshaun Watson to pass the ball around, because you want to keep that defense honest. That's the biggest reason why Kansas City has so much success and had a record-breaking year when it comes to their offense, because they had so many players that you could never really try to double anyone. So that's what you need.
I have a question for you, Darren. This is going to come out of left field, but we're looking for a receiver that can make a difference, returning over every stone. And I asked the guys last week, and don't laugh, Josh Gordon is 30 years old, 31 maybe?
Double check.
Josh Gordon, we tend to think that Josh Gordon's 50 because it seems so long ago when he had his unbelievable season here in Cleveland, but he's not that old. I know he was in camp last year with Kansas City, and Andy ultimately decided to move on. I'm not going to equate his success in the this arena league or wherever it is that he's playing. US, I don't know what
he's about to turn
XFL.
He's going to turn 32 in a couple of weeks.
Okay, so he's currently 31. Why didn't Andy keep him around? Because I thought when Andy let him go that's probably the end of the road for him. But I'm wondering, should the Browns kick the tires on him and just see?
I'm gonna be honest with you, Jay. I agree. I think that they should. The reason why they moved on, it was just a numbers game. I mean, they drafted Sky Moore in the draft, and of course you brought in Justin Watson from Tampa Bay as well. And plus you had MVS, you had Thornhill. I'm not Thornhill. Mecole Hardman, and you also had so you had 5 receivers.
So it was a
right
numbers
there.
thing, really.
It was just a numbers thing, and so I mean, and they had also signed the kid from Clemson as an undrafted rookie free agent. He had the ankle injury in the neck fusion after his freshman year. That they're high. I think it's Justin Ross that they're high on him on. So and then of course you bring in, well, we didn't know at the time, but John Ross from Cincinnati for this upcoming season. It just became a numbers game, and so if you're not going to keep him on the practice squad, allow him to to have a chance to go out and play. And look, I've seen what he's been able to do. I know it's XFL, but having that body, and the greatest thing about him being in Kansas City was that you didn't hear anything negative. You didn't hear any suspensions or anything. I mean, he was a model citizen, and I think him being in Kansas City helped him grow as a person and as a player. And I think that, look, I think that you should bring him back as well. At least give him a chance.
What a redemption story that would be if they were able to bring him back and he was able to have any kind of success.
The odds
whatsoever.
of him being a viable player are extreme long shot.
Get it, but I didn't get to see him like you saw him last year in camp. I did see the games that the Chiefs played that were nationally televised in the preseason. I can think of one, and I watched him, and he didn't seem to have that same burst and runaway speed. But other than that, I thought he still had a lot of the characteristics that a successful wide receiver in the NFL needs. And what the hell? Nothing ventured, nothing gained. I just think if they were able to do that, how it would energize the roster, how it could energize the fan base, who knows? It's not going to cost you anything.
He's 32 years old and has 32 receiving yards in the last 2 years. So,
that's well documented.
But it's also, but look, it's also about opportunities. Again, when you're playing in Kansas City, it's going to be hard to stand out unless you're Travis Kelce, Tyreek Hill. It's going to be hard to get those opportunities when it comes your way.
Right.
You've got to look. I had asked Andy Reid during our sessions a couple years ago. Well, you got him. Did you waste a position by not throwing the ball or not getting him involved. Next thing you know, that following Sunday, he gets probably his one and only touchdown in Kansas City, which everybody thanked me for. But
well, you know what? I'll make it sound better, Bull.
Yeah.
Anthony Schwartz or Josh Gordon?
I like that.
Josh Gordon.
Hey, listen, I like that.
I mean, if you want to bring him into camp, it's fine.
We're going to bring we're bringing Anthony Schwartz to camp.
Well, they shouldn't bring him to camp either.
Well, they are.
I don't know that they are. I don't think they should. But like Josh Gordon hasn't been a viable player in 5 years, and he's 32. So the odds that he can be a useful player is like 1,000 to 1.
I've seen receivers.
That's fair, but.
Be useless for 4 years and then be good at 32?
Well,
I can't imagine.
He's had so many issues. And by the way, his biggest hurdle is now on the ground. I mean, the whole smoking marijuana thing.
Jay.
I know he is.
He hasn't played for 3 years.
I'll spin that into a positive. His body hasn't been through the ringer like a 32-year-old that's been playing nonstop.
He's had intermittent stops for playing his whole life.
It's irrelevant.
Right? We had someone on. I think I can't remember who it was. It was a former Brown. We were talking to him, and he said, "I'll tell you this about Josh Gordon. He still looks every bit the part that he did when he was here in Cleveland."
So does Joe Charbonnet.
Like, it's not like his body. No, Joe's body doesn't look like it did when he played.
The point is he probably can't play. He probably can't play in the NFL.
Let's find out.
Fine. I don't care if they bring him in, but like you can't expect anything.
I wouldn't, but if it happens, what a bonus.
Darren, can you imagine if Bull and Jay were co-GMs of a team? This conversation right here would be
what happened? No, Darren. We would miss the clock on every one of our picks.
Yeah. That's true.
The commissioner would walk out. The Cleveland Browns have missed the clock on their pick.
We're both holding one end of the card.
Are now on the
tucking in.
And they take our war room and we're throwing our.
What's going on?
All right,
that's the main reason I let Brett Veach do what he does. So.
Darren, thanks, man. Great stuff.
All right, brother, man. Appreciate you, man.
That'd
be a funny skit.
Yeah, it would be.
Jay,
Saturday Night Live. A Cleveland Saturday Night Live skit.
Jay and Bull in the Browns war room.
Bring him in. I don't care. I mean, he's not going to be good.
If they want to bring him to Josh Gordon to camp, I don't have a problem with that.
It costs you nothing.
No.
Absolutely nothing.
Why not? But in the end, I think we all acknowledge that the odds of him being useful are almost none.
1 in a million.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, you know what?
If you ask me,
stranger things have happened.
If I had to decide for the last camp spot between Schwartz and Gordon, I'll go with Gordon.
Did anyone think when the Niners drafted Mr. Irrelevant last year that he would lead them into the NFC Championship game?
No.
Of course not.
No.
But
it's the NFL.
It is the 12 o'clock hour of the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show, which means it's time to remind you guys that Colleague Racing is the official sponsor of our show from 12 to 1. It is also the official sponsor of Northeast Ohio's NASCAR.
Yep. By the way, another player who was just cut, not a surprise, Leonard Fournette.
Yeah, that was not a surprise at all.
Speaking of surprise signings, though, did any of you guys have the Browns signing a guy we've never heard of on your bingo card? It actually takes a high-quality signing or low-quality signing, depending on how you want to look at it, to sign a guy that none of us, who are as big a football nerds as anybody I know, have never heard of.
Better chance of making the Browns roster. Trysten Hill or Josh Gordon?
Trysten Hill.
Everybody's saying, who the hell's Trysten Hill?
Yeah.
Trysten Hill was drafted in the second round.
Right.
A couple of years ago.
Yeah.
The Cowboys gave up on him. He played some with the Cardinals last year, not a lot. I think the appeal on this guy is he was once upon a time a guy that most execs in the NFL felt could play and be a difference maker in the league. It's never happened, but now he's on the Cleveland Browns roster.
McNuggets, when you say he's an NFL Combine superstar, what does that mean? What measurables did he have?
A workout warrior.
He put up some crazy numbers at the Combine. He was a 3-star recruit. He actually only started one game his junior year at UCF. Was not looked at heading into the Combine as a guy who was going to blow people away. Opened a ton of eyes. He ran a great 40, broad jumped. I'll get his exact measurables if you want, but he was a workout warrior, skyrocketed up draft boards, and that's always the fear when you have a guy like that who wasn't crazy productive in college then works out great. Will it translate? So far, it hasn't for Hill, but maybe it turns around in Cleveland.
Anthony Schwartz ran a great 42.
I don't think it's fair to put Hill and Hurst in the same category.
No, Hurst has got more of a track record.
Hurst has been productive.
Yeah,
Hill is not. The last 2 years he's been hurt.
Yeah.
So he is a crapshoot because he hasn't played for 2 years.
Agreed.
But at least earlier in his career he was productive, where Hill has been a flop. Doesn't mean he can't turn it around. Yeah. But he has no quality production like Hurst does. Hurst has had some quality production earlier in his career. Not to mention, like, Hurst played on a really good team with really good players.
Yeah.
Like, there's something to be said for that.
I mean, they're bringing in bodies.
And again,
they're hoping to plug holes.
They're replacing guys who were nothing, who were zeros.
Yeah.
So even if Trysten Hill's a 1 and Hurst is a 3, well, that's better than the zeros they had. And those are the second and third moves at defensive tackle. They've brought in Tomlinson, who apparently is the number 1 free agent signing of this.
You voted it too.
I did too.
The number 1 D tackle on the board.
All jokes aside, I think we all like the signing.
Yeah. And
he is a legitimate quality starting defensive tackle, something they haven't had in a few years.
So let's look at it. So right now, you have Myles Garrett at one defensive end. You
have on the other.
You have young OG at the other end. You now have Tomlinson. And
a battle for the fourth spot.
And a battle for the 4th spot.
And that's a hell of a lot better than we had last year.
There it is. You can throw Perrion Winfrey in there, Hurst.
If Hurst is healthy,
Hill.
I think he's got a good chance to be the guy.
So with that in a vacuum, you got Alex Wright and Isaiah Thomas to kind of platoon.
Right.
In a vacuum, that is a serviceable unit.
It's an upgrade from last year.
Absolutely. And they still might get somebody else in the draft at some point.
Good.
I would think right now, with that I never like to say, well, you got to take this position. But if I had to say at this moment, I think we'd all say probably wide receiver in the second round.
I think so.
Now, if they sign Mecole Hardman and trade for Brandon Cooks, we're thinking differently.
We think.
But as of today, the 2 biggest positions of need are wide receiver and linebacker.
Is that true, though? Like, if you think about it,
Yeah.
Taki is probably going to start the season on the IR.
Right.
Even if they sign Walker, he's going to start on the IR.
Well, no, linebacker's a position of need, too.
Yeah, I'm waffling a little bit.
I think that's certainly a position they could take in the second round also. But I think for this team, wide receiver is more important.
Are you comfortable drafting a linebacker and playing him, or drafting a receiver and playing him?
Ooh.
I mean,
look, guys.
A lot of second-round receivers are good.
Right now we have no linebackers.
None, zero.
I mean, so they've got to do something at linebacker.
Yeah, they have no sure starters at linebacker.
No,
None.
and that's terrifying because last year that flashing red light was on the defensive line, and guess what? Ended up really derailing the whole season.
Right.
So you better address it, and I think you better address it in free agency or trade because the draft is a crapshoot.
Right now,
Browns. When they brought in Mac Wilson and Taki in the same draft, and threw them both out there, it was obvious right away. Oh, these guys aren't ready.
They can't. No.
And the fact, here's another thing that's unacceptable: the fact that the Browns are talking about Mac Wilson coming back.
Oh, please
he signed
don't.
somewhere else.
No, did he sign to stay in New England?
I think so. I can't remember where he signed.
Went back to New England.
Yeah.
Okay,
he
thank
did.
you.
Which shocked me because
he was no good.
I was like,
Belichick's now been fooled by him twice.
Yeah.
So now, and the scary part is with the linebackers, all of them are coming off injury, and you don't know if they're going to be ready to even come play at OTAs.
In my mind, though, listen, there's still plenty of free agents out there.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of high-level free agents left, but again, we've talked about this. The Browns, it's okay to bring in some Tier 2 and Tier 3 guys. You need that.
Yeah.
Right now, linebacker, they don't even have that. The Browns, in my mind now, and if I say there's 12 starters on defense because I include the nickel corner and then 3 linebackers.
Yeah, yep.
I think the Browns have 8 legitimate starters on defense. I think at all 5 spots in the secondary, 3 corners, 2 safety, they have legitimate starters.
Yep.
Not saying they're all great. I'm saying they're legitimate starting players.
Right.
I think they have 3 on the defensive line now with Myles, Ogbo, and Tomlinson. That's it. You need at least 2 legit starting linebackers,
Yes.
at least 2. And they need. I think
Or
they
give me
probably
one standout.
Yeah, sure.
I've talked about this on the show before, but Tony Dungy always used to say he divided the defense into 4 layers. And the reason that he had so much success in Tampa was because he had a Hall of Fame caliber player. Think about how hard this is to do at each level. He had Warren Sapp up front. He had Derek Brooks on the back end, or I mean in the middle. He had Rondé Barber as a corner, and he had John Lynch as a safety.
Yeah, but that's almost impossible to do.
It is almost impossible,
Yeah.
but what I'm saying is the fact that you would have 4 Hall of Famers on the same defense, 1 at each level, is mind-boggling.
Right.
If you're the Browns and you want to dumb that down, you need to have not just some guys, because we had some guys last year at defensive line and really at linebacker.
Right.
You need to have an impact player up front.
But there's
They
also
do.
but there's
an
also
impact player At linebacker, they don't.
They don't.
And an impact player at corner and safety, which I think they do.
Certainly at corner they do. We'll see about safety.
We'll see.
I do think there's space between impact player and just a guy.
But there's also space between impact and Hall of Fame.
Sure. But like, at linebacker, they may have to go with just find 2 starting caliber players. Like they didn't, in my opinion, they didn't have any starting caliber players.
Doesn't that feel like
linebacker.
last year to you though? How we kept fooling ourselves, saying, they should be okay up front.
Yes.
They've got Clowney and they've got Garrett.
Yes,
but they weren't.
Right, but they didn't. But I think we acknowledged, maybe we underplayed how important it was, but we acknowledged that the Browns didn't have any short things at defensive tackle, at least being starters. So no, I'm not saying. I'm saying like there are linebackers out there who are starting NFL players. Like the Browns don't have any starting. Anthony Walker is a starting NFL linebacker. He got hurt.
When is he available?
Was the only one they had.
When will he be available?
I'm not sure. But he got hurt fairly early in the season.
It was really early.
I would think he'd be ready to go.
I would think he would be early or be ready early. JOK
is going to start.
Is there?
He's going to start.
I mean, he's got experience. I'm not for whatever that's worth. And then you've got to worry about
Bobby Wagner at this point is the only
Are you surprised he's still available?
Player. Yeah, I am.
I was too.
Who's if you look at the PFF or ESPN, whatever, their top 100 free agents. Most of the top 50 guys are gone.
Yeah.
He's one of the few. He was really good still last year.
He's the number 1 rated player at his position.
I wonder if with him, he's looking for long-term deal that teams are not willing to do with an older linebacker.
Or maybe
that's what's held him up.
Or maybe he just don't. He want to wait it out.
He might.
He might say,
right.
"Look, I don't want to go to camp. I don't want to go to none of that."
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Could be.
He does.
But I mean, if you're going to a new team, and it's one thing to if you're staying where you are, the system, the routine.
Yeah.
But if he's going to make a move and come to a new team, he needs to do
Well, the Rams cut him, so he's not going. They cut him.
They still could. They actually cut him, but they could re-sign him.
That's true. They could. They cut him for cap reasons.
I'd love to get him in here. I think if you said they brought back Anthony Walker and Bobby Wagner, both.
Yeah, okay, I would like that.
Yeah,
it's 2 big names. Now they're at the end of their ropes.
Yeah. But you'd have leadership. If they brought Anthony Walker back for a 1-year deal, and they got Bobby Wagner, I feel comfortable. They already brought Taki back. They'll have JOK, who I think Schwartz will get together. Now you got a front where – now I'm saying, okay, now I can count on something because if they're playing at that higher level, and Anthony Walker was playing at a really good level, but he got hurt. Now that changes the whole dynamic.
And we also have to think that Schwartz is going to get more out of them.
Yeah.
Yes. Here's the thing. We did this last week when you were away, Jay, and we've talked about this a bunch of times. We did the perfect Browns offseason. Well, we're now a week later.
Yeah.
If you ask me what's not including the draft because but right now, what else can what would be the best case scenario for the Browns? Free agency trades left?
Yeah.
I would say sign Bobby Wagner, trade for Brandon Cooks. We're good to go.
You've addressed all your needs.
If you did that, you still need one more linebacker. You still probably could use another defensive tackle.
And you've got to restructure some deals.
But for the most part, they don't need any other frontline players.
I'm good with that.
If they did that, I'd upgrade them to an A in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
And now
then you can't wait for July.
Now you talking about I need to see how this is going to work. Yeah. And John Watson, I need to see some 7-on-7.
That would be the perfect capper. Those 2 guys.
Well,
is it going to happen? I don't know.
It could.
I'd settle for one of the 2. And then use the draft on the other.
Adam Thielen, OBJ, DJ Chark, McCole Hardman.
Yeah.
You can even go down further. Marvin Jones, Mac Hollins. These are names that you would think could make a difference here, could help make a difference.
I like DJ Chark. I like
Chark.
He has upside. The one thing I'll say about Thielen, my initial reaction on Thielen for a week has been he's washed.
Right.
The one thing I'll say about Thielen, he's not a guy that's going to, his days of putting up 1,000 yards are over.
Yeah, he's not the old Adam Thielen.
As a third down / red zone target, he's still really good in those spots.
And who doesn't need one of those?
Right. Now, ideally, if they got a Brandon Cooks and then signed an Adam Thielen, You can never have enough good receivers.
I don't even know if Cooks is still available because we kept hearing a lot about Cooks.
I haven't heard nothing.
Nothing.
I just think somebody was saying, TA was saying that it's a little complicated because of his contract, that might take some time for him to eventually be traded. I mean, he wants out of Houston. They're a bad team that's starting over.
We talked about that. We talked about this in our pregame, little warm-up conversation. The Jerry Jeudy thing never.
Yeah, I just don't buy it.
I don't understand where that came from because it doesn't make sense.
You know what that comes from? You live on a street and you've seen 3 of your neighbors put for sale signs in the front yard and they all got more than asking. And you weren't thinking about selling your house. You like your house. But you see what your neighbors are getting and saying,
like
whoa.
I like that.
I'm going to throw a for sale sign in there and put a ridiculous number on there and maybe I'll get a buyer.
And that's why.
They're asking way too much.
And that's to your point. To your point, when somebody I don't know who suggested a 3rd and 6th round pick, I laughed at that.
Yeah.
Because, first of all, like, the Broncos, everybody thinks you can get a steal on a wide receiver because the Browns stole Amari Cooper. But we forget that all these. Now,
it's the Cleveland Guardians syndrome. The Guardians fleece everybody. They're like, fleece somebody again.
The Cowboys put themselves in a position where they felt they had to trade Cooper for cap reasons, and they screwed that up. The Broncos are not in a position that they have to trade Jerry Jeudy, so they're smart to say, we want a 1st-round pick.
Sure.
Even if you think they're overvaluing him, I'm not going to trade him unless I get high price.
It goes to this. Everybody has a price.
Right.
Yeah.
Everybody.
But they're not trading him for a 3rd-round pick. What would be the point of that?
No point. No point whatsoever. And the thing on the Cooper thing, too, is that fit both teams' needs. Now, the Cowboys would still probably rather have a redo on that move.
Yeah.
But they were paying him more money than they could afford to pay him at that position. And
they had a younger guy who they wanted to be the number 1 receiver who needed to be
and
paid.
the Browns were like, well, we need an Amari Cooper, so we'll pay his salary and we'll give you a 3rd.
They were stupid because having Lamb and Cooper together was great.
It was.
The problem is they paid Michael Gallup, and he's nothing.
That was the miscalculation that they made. I want to go back to one thing that Darren said, and I never thought this before, but as he was making his point, I did. He explained, when you asked, well, why would they move on from a Thornhill? Why would they do that? He explained the mission statement of the organization, and it hit me. That sounds very familiar. He said, they draft really well.
They've been hitting lately.
They coach and develop really well. They let other teams pay generational money, except for when they see the one difference maker that they need. They went ahead and paid Mahomes. And I'm thinking, okay, Guardians, draft very well, develop and coach very well. They let other teams pay generational money to their guys.
And they still go to the playoffs.
And they picked their spot in Jose Ramirez as being the guy they're going to build everything around.
Yeah.
There are a lot of similarities, guys, between what the Chiefs are doing and what the Guard. I mean, I'd love to have a couple of World Series in the trophy case. But as he was saying that, I go, wow, he's explaining the Guardians.
Tyreek Hill is their Lindor.
Right.
Like,
they let him go.
They let him go.
Although they did just spend a ton of money on a guy they're going to play at right tackle from the Jaguars.
Because it's, again, we talk about this. There's 3 things you must do as a general manager. Find a quarterback, protect a quarterback, get after a quarterback.
Although I'm surprised they're thinking about, Darren was saying they're thinking about moving him to right tackle, that they'd like to move, that they may trade for Tunsil and move him to right tackle. I was surprised to hear that too. I'm like, you're paying that much money to a guy and you're going to put him at right tackle? I
was surprised to hear that. That's left tackle money.
It's hard to question much, if not anything, of what the Chiefs do.
They get
it right.
They've gotten so good that you can't even. It's like when the Guardians, we used to get mad when they used to trade pitchers or people in their prime. But everybody they get back in return turns out to either be an all-star or even looks better than them. It's a complete wash.
Look what they got from Lindor.
And now, fairness, CeCe Sabathia went and was a great player.
Well, CeCe Sabathia was a guy, they knew he was, they knew what he was. They knew he was a Cy Young caliber player. And
he wanted to stay. He told us he wanted to stay.
Now, that was a trade that the Indians got railed on. I think, didn't they get Matt Laporta?
They traded him to the Brewers, right?
They did get Brewers, Michael Brantley. Didn't they get Brantley in that deal?
I don't think they did. I don't think Brantley came from the Brewers.
I know they got somebody in that deal. It wasn't. Laporta was the main guy,
and he ended up being
sucked.
Nothing.
But I'm pretty sure they ended up getting somebody in that deal that ended up being good.
When you look at the deal they did with the Expos when they got all of that talent, they're going to look back on the Frankie Lindor decision to let him go.
Great trade.
Oh my God!
But in recent years, he's the only guy they've traded that's a big money guy.
Well, they've let pitchers at free agency walk.
Well,
I mean, they traded Corey Kluber, and at the time, everybody wasn't sure what that was, but they got Clase for Kluber.
That was a brilliant trade.
Oh my God, it was unbelievable.
Until the first couple of years, Kluber did nothing. Last year, he's still at this point he's a decent pitcher, but not special.
And didn't they kind of trade high on Clevenger?
They traded Clevenger.
Yeah.
He's been nothing. Obviously, Bauer was still good, but there were other reasons besides.
This city, the Guardians don't get the credit they deserve. They just don't.
No, because had they won one World Series, it would be totally different.
It would be.
Because then you couldn't complain about the money because you'd be like.
But you know what? In Tito's 10 years here, they've probably played 30 games where they were out of contention. Think about that.
Oh, yeah. No.
Think about that.
Yes.
They're in it. Six
every
of those
year.
years they made the playoffs. That means every game they played that season was hinging on a playoff berth or not. In the other 4, they only had one that was sub 500. That was 80 and 82, and they were still in it in September.
They're kind of like the Steelers.
No.
They are like the Steelers.
Yeah.
They're always there. They're around it.
Let me get. I'm getting the Sabathia trade. I got to see this before we move on.
Yeah, I just thought
I
Matt
was right.
Laporta,
They got Brantley in that deal.
He was a Brewer.
Yep.
Okay, then you know what? I got to put that one in the win column too.
The trade was. Here was the trade: Sabathia to the Brewers for Matt Laporta, who was supposed to be the guy in the trade.
And he
sucked.
never panned out.
Zach Jackson, not the one who's a writer for The Athletic. Rob Bryson, and a player to be named later. And Brantley was the player to be named later.
My God.
That's it. Now, obviously, Sabathia was better than Brantley comparatively, but Brantley was awesome here.
And by the way, CeCe moved on from the Brewers and eventually ended up in New York.
Right.
Now, he did come back. He finished that season.
I think that was it, and then he
was that it?
I think that was it.
Then my God! And then it was a rent-a-player. I thought he signed a 1 year, so he went right to the Yankees.
Went right to the Yankees.
It was a total rent-a-player, and the fact that we got Brantley out of that.
Oh yeah.
Never mind.
And they got Carrasco out of this the Cliff Lee deal.
Don't trade with the Guardians.
And I don't think Carrasco.
Don't trade with the Guardians.
And I don't think Carrasco was the. I can't remember who the big piece was supposed to be in that deal, but I don't think it was Carrasco. But Carrasco obviously ended up being excellent.
No, you know what? Was Andrew Miller? Who'd we send him to? St. Louis?
Cliff Lee, Philly.
Philly.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can't remember who else they got in the deal.
Well, you guys look that up while we do a colleague read and our Friday colleague race report, because colleague racing is the official Northeast Ohio NASCAR team. Earl, where are they at this week?
We in ATL, man. NASCAR pulls up to Atlanta on Saturday. They are going to do the Raptor King of Tough 250. Sunday, they will be the I Am Better Health 400. Qualifying for the Xfinity races today at 3 o'clock. Tomorrow is qualifying for the Cup race. It is at 1 o'clock. Will Byron is the defending champion of this race. This is actually one of my favorite tracks as well.
Nice.
What's so cool about this track?
It's kind of like a mini Daytona. This is one of those mile-and-a-half tracks that rides like a Talladega and a Daytona. You get the cars in the pack more often than single file, so it's pretty cool. They just repaved it last year. They changed the old aero package, and it was one of the best races from last season.
So you could have at this track what they refer to as the big one.
Yeah,
right?
and Atlanta is a dangerous track, too. For them,
yeah, that's
speeds get up there.
Are we going to Ask the Show in a second?
We're going to do Ask the Show. We're going to skip the cab, save it for next week.
And thank you, our black race car correspondent, Earl.
Love it.
Earl's got one more thing. Hold on.
Earl's NASCAR knowledge goes deep.
Put a name on it. I was the one who said the 3 and the 6, and this is why I said it.
I didn't remember who it was.
Yeah,
you know I'm not afraid to rip you.
I don't think it's silly.
Yeah.
Because if you don't plan on paying Jared Judy, then you get whatever you can get back for him, and you don't have to be strapped for cash to make that decision.
First of all, there would, at the very least, some team would give up a second-round pick for him because there's so much upside with the guy.
But the production don't match.
Yeah, but you don't. You guys are saying these Browns moves are the greatest moves ever, And with
you did too, just for the
yes,
record.
but
I mean, don't put it all on us.
but no, I'm talking to these guys.
Okay.
But 2 of the 3 guys we like based on upside, not production.
There's a lot of upside with Judy, but
how many?
And
years
he
in
has
the year?
been productive.
Is
he
this
hasn't
his
been
fourth year?
He hasn't been productive.
he's going into his
year. He's
fourth
the same
season. He's
class
had 3
as
years.
Greg Newsome.
He hasn't been productive at an elite level, but it's not like he's, it's not. He's been more productive than McCole Hardman.
So they're gonna have to make a decision on him next year, right? To give him a 5th year or not, right?
Yeah.
He's going into year 4, so they have to make that extension
Yeah.
call. Yes.
Okay.
Hey, we didn't even mention that Greedy Williams.
That's
did
right.
We? I don't think we mentioned
Nope.
that. Greedy Williams gone to Philly.
Philadelphia.
Good luck with that, Steve.
That's right.
Yeah. Steve, get you some of that, man.
All right, it's time for Ask the Show, though. We got
Yes.
15 minutes here to wrap it up. We got a couple I want to get in before we do overtime. Shout out to our members who sent us in these questions today.
By the way, Jerry Judy is
$1.99.
Jerry Judy. Sorry, Mike, but Jerry Judy's only 23 years old, and
be
last
24
year
though, by the-
had just under 1,000 yards on a terrible offense.
Won't he be 24 before the season starts, though?
But whatever. I mean,
Yeah,
that's
no,
the point.
I
Is
mean,
he's really young.
Yeah, he is young.
And he had 972 yards only playing 15 games with terrible quarterback play. I mean,
I'll take
it's
him.
not like that's not productive.
I'll take him for the right price, but I don't think they're giving him up. So we're gonna have to go.
I mean,
another
you
route.
guys went bananas for what's his name with the Raiders,
Here's why I've put it
who
out
had
of
like
my mind.
50 more yards.
With the asking is supposed to be 1+, so a first plus a player.
We don't know.
We don't have a first-round
That's
pick.
been reported. Who knows what the truth is?
Well,
all I'm saying
I'll
is,
say this: was it Mike Kliss that reported that?
Mike Kliss
Yeah.
at USA Today.
Yeah, he knows what he's talking about.
right? But there's always some negotiation room. They're not trading him for a 3rd-round pick, though. That's the point.
No, never for a third
Yeah.
round. But if it ends up somebody's going to part ways with
DK
a first round pick, that
But
takes us out of the
if
mix.
the Browns could get him for their 2nd-round pick, wouldn't you do it?
In a heartbeat,
It's a
I would do it.
no-brainer.
In a heartbeat.
But I don't even think DK Metcalf is worth a first in something else.
He
Like I
was
said
traded for
yesterday,
a first and
I've
something else.
got an
Who,
offer
DK
for them.
Yes, he was.
I've got
oh,
an
no, I'm
offer
sorry.
for him.
I was thinking of A.J. Brown.
Okay.
I have an offer for Denver.
Yeah.
I'll give them 2/3. And you know what those thirds are? David Bell, Anthony Schwartz. See you guys.
Would you give up the 2nd round in the draft for Jerry Judy?
Yeah.
I mean, that's a no-brainer. I wouldn't
Absolutely.
have to think about that for a second.
Yeah, listen, that's funny. You say I'll give you 2/3.
Yeah.
Schwartz and Bell.
I mean, those are facts.
I'll give him the 2nd-round pick and Schwartz and Bell. There you go.
I'll give him Schwartz.
All right, sorry,
Bell.
Mike. Go ahead.
I would do that too, Bo.
Yeah.
Our members,
Yeah.
both tiers today, coaches and starters tiers, got to ask questions for Ask the Show. We got 16 questions.
Nice.
Today, we're obviously not going to get through 16. We're going to do some in overtime. We'll do some on Monday again. But today, I want to start with a question from Creative Juice because it's relevant.
He's
to
always
today's
asking
topic.
questions, Creative Juice. We like him. Go
We
ahead.
do. Creative Juice, what a great guy.
Yeah.
Hopefully creative. On a juice cleanse, who knows? But he says, do you guys have any funny St. Patrick's Day stories about the parade? Bull, have you ever gone to any corned beef benders? Did Jay ever drink too much Jameson to have him singing songs in public that he shouldn't have? What about you, McNuggets? Have a great weekend, guys. So
I got
any
no
St. Patty's
good
Day
St.
stories?
Creative just explained what I'm going to do for the rest of my day.
Just eat corned beef
I'm
all
going
day?
on a Jameson bender and singing
Oh, yeah.
songs
That's
in
true.
public.
Jay doesn't eat corned beef.
Yeah, I don't do
Yeah,
corned beef.
hey man, you see, he didn't even ask the black dude. You know, I ain't gonna be out in
Yeah.
no public square celebrating and drinking.
Why not? It's a party.
Nah,
Do you celebrate Cinco de Mayo?
no.
No?
Like,
That one you have to.
By the
Man,
way,
I'm big on both.
for those who don't know, Jay is the oddest eater of an in-shape person
Fact.
I've ever met in my
Yeah,
life.
you're right.
This is
I
a
have
fact.
never heard. The man is almost 60. He's in great shape, and yet he doesn't eat fish. I've never heard of. I have
Nothing from
never
the
heard
sea.
of such a thing.
Nothing
No.
from the water.
No, he's right.
It's
In fact,
wild to me.
Yeah, I don't-
Usually people in their 50s that are in good shape, like all they eat is fish and vegetables.
You're right. Yeah, I don't
It's
know.
so
And
strange.
He don't even do too many vegetables like that. It'd be like
don't.
celery
I do eat celery every day.
and
But he's also in the gym for an hour and a half.
That's
after
true.
And
every
guys,
show.
and
He's in the
honest to
gym.
God, that's the secret.
That's it.
That's it. I am not a great eater. Like, I like pizza. I'll eat pizza.
Yeah.
I love steak. I love meat in general. I love bread and pasta.
You just don't overeat it.
No.
I eat so I'm full. I'm on this new thing now, and I kind of got it from you. I do a breakfast protein shake and a lunch protein shake, and I
yeah?
eat one meal a day.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
I'm never hungry, really.
the protein shakes will fill you up,
It
man.
fills you up, and it, and It's
the
good for you.
dietitian sent me these like fruit-flavored protein drinks that I'm going to try this weekend.
Yeah.
Because I just didn't like the protein drinks.
I would recommend, too, the muscle milk. That's what I'm doing.
They taste
you get it in the bag
better.
and you mix them up.
They taste, or you
They're
can get
so good, boy.
Yeah.
You get they even have one where if you lactose intolerant, they come in like a I eat just the regular drink the chocolate ones.
Yeah.
You put them in the refrigerator, you just uncap them, and you don't even got to mix it or anything.
Yeah. All
Next,
right.
Mike.
Do you want to hear a funny St. Patty's Day story real quick?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yes.
Go
So
ahead.
I went to school in Boston, which I've heard Cleveland is epic
It
for
is.
St.
Boston
Patty's
is
Day.
Boston's better.
I don't have any comparison,
for
but
St.
Boston
Patty's
is
Day.
Oh, yeah.
absolutely
It's nuts.
bananas.
I mean, that's the Irish city.
Yeah, I was actually shooting a package. They made us shoot a package on St. Patrick. For a package, anyway, TV
Shot a
story.
package, huh?
I was taking TV
Hey,
class.
It's a TV term.
I know.
He turned a report.
Hey, man, you can't even take a
Did a
picture of the
report, yeah.
packages, dog.
And they said do it on the St. Patrick's Day parade out in Boston. So
Oh,
I went
that's
out there with
fun.
a camera, and
Nice.
I'll show you guys. I wish I thought of this ahead of time. I could have put it in here. I got a video of a guy passed out drunk, laying on his back, puking in air. It is
Like a fountain.
epic.
A puke fountain.
Yeah, and then we slowed it down, reversed it. It's so funny. We put music to it.
See, if I saw that, I might vomit myself.
No,
Yeah, so maybe I'll show you off air. But if you guys DM me, I'll send it to
Yeah.
you.
All
It
right.
is
But go ahead.
epic.
No, like I don't know about you. Jay might seem like this person too. I haven't thrown up in such a long time. Like even going back towards college, I refuse to do it.
Yeah.
Like if I throw up, and even if I'm by myself in my house, like I feel shame. I'm like, how the hell
You let
are
yourself get to that point.
You
Now,
sitting here.
Well, I
throwing
threw
up
up
saying
on the
because
show,
of drinking.
because of drinking.
Yeah, no,
right?
I
because
haven't
of
thrown up
drinking.
because of drinking in many
The last
years.
time I threw up, I was 22. I remember it. The last
From
time I threw up
drinking?
Right.
I was drinking vodka from the bottle, straight vodka.
Was this after you lost a big bet or something?
No, a girlfriend had broken up with me. I was bummed. I was at a party.
that's
were in the
And
gutter.
and I
remember
was
it,
just
you
a
weren't drunk
mess.
enough.
That was really.
I was puking for like 24 hours after that. I was a disaster.
And you be praying to God, just let me get over that.
I've been drunk probably once since then.
Well,
and I didn't throw
we've
up
all
that
been
time.
here.
Yeah.
I'll never drink again.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I've been there a number of times, and
Yeah.
I went back to drinking, but
Yeah.
I don't drink heavily at all.
No, like.
By the way, I do think it's cool that they make the Chicago River green for.
Yeah, that's
cool.
one of the coolest St.
That's
Patrick's Day
sweet.
traditions.
Yeah,
That's pretty sweet.
This year, by the way, the parade this year in Cleveland, it's the 175th. So we've
Yeah.
been doing it in a long, long time. A lot of Irish population in
Yes.
Cleveland. Every year the parade has a theme. This year the theme is they're paying tribute to Irish American athletes.
Nice.
So that's, kind of up our alley.
Okay.
Yeah.
Eddie asked us a question to make our Ultimate Guardians lineup. We're going to do that as a segment in the coming weeks before the season. So, Eddie, I see your question. We will do that as a full segment. We're going to do infield and outfield two separate days.
That's too hard to do right
We'll
now.
get to that. This next one's from Demond. If the NBA, and this one's specifically for you, but I want everyone's opinion. If the NBA had to wear one shoe as a uniform shoe across the league, what shoe would you choose for all 30 teams to wear?
Oh, wow.
Man, they wouldn't be like they actually have team shoes. So like back in high school, they used to actually do this. Like so, Nike would give discounts to the teams, and everybody would have for a year like
The same shoe.
The same shoes.
I
Like,
love that, by the way.
I loved
it was a
team
uniform.
shoes. It was a uniform.
Right,
I love
right.
team shoes. So for me, I would automatically pick Jordans, right? But here's the thing about Jordans. Some of the Jordans are not comfortable to hoop in. Some of them, actually, to be truthful, I don't even think Mick Jordan makes good shoes they're aesthetically, beautiful.
These are cultural and fashion.
And there's a
they're
fashion,
not
but
a
they're
comfortable
not a
basketball
comfortable.
shoe.
You can't hoop in them. So I would say something of they got the Zoom Air or something.
I like the Zoom Air.
Zoom Air because you can move, you can cut. It doesn't seem like you're doing too much. So I would have some of them be like something with an AirPod, Zoom Air or something like that.
I'd wear the old man New Balance that I wear every day.
Wouldn't you love to go to a basketball game where they did have to play
Yes, in the old man
their
New Balance.
super wide New Balance
Yes.
low cuts?
The
Guys would be getting carted off every second.
my 5 E's that I'm wearing for my fat feet. There you go. Next, Mikey.
Okay, this is a good one for I wish Brad was here for this one, but we'll do it without him. From TPIJP. Who is the best athlete you ever faced yourself?
That's a great question.
Oh, wow.
That would be great for Brad.
That would be really good for Brad.
Okay, you guys go.
Brad would say Michael Jordan. Let me just answer for Brad. He would say Michael
I
got
got it.
a lot.
I got it.
I got a lot.
Yeah.
Well, we played
Big Ben, right?
I played. Well, yeah. Dang. I played against Josh Cribbs and Ben Roethlisberger, Leftwich. I played against Maurice Clarett. Obviously, when I was younger. I played against Mike Dawes. I'm trying to think of who's
played against or played with.
Best athlete you faced, so played against.
Okay.
Mine's Mike Gesicki, by the way.
Okay.
Played against Steve Logan. He's pretty good. I'm trying to think.
I mean, Ben's the best player.
Charles Bentley.
Yeah, Bentley was good, but boy, Ben, man.
Best player.
Hall of Fame.
Like he's all, yeah.
But you sacked him.
Yeah, he's on the highlight tape twice.
Trashed him when you sacked him?
No, let me get back to this.
Did he say anything?
No, we were getting smoked, so there was nothing to say. Okay. For me, I count all sacks. Yeah. Sacks in crunch time and garbage time sacks count too.
You had like the Rudy last play of the game sack on him?
If I got the last play, like I'm counting all that production.
Yeah,
like,
no doubt.
I wish, like I would be mad when they would take us out. I'm like, listen, I need to be in there against Northeast Louisiana State. I need to be in there against the Tennessee Tech Community
Gather
College.
those numbers.
I killed Tri-C. I destroyed Tri-C. 5 sacks, 7 for loss.
Jay, how about you?
I think, I don't know if he's the best athlete, but I actually had some success and got nailed by Jose Canseco. I gave up a home run.
Oh, that's kind of dope.
That was the second at-bat.
Was he roiding up?
The first at-bat, I struck him out swinging on a cutter that I told him I was going to throw.
Do you think he juiced between those two at-bats?
He was at the end of his playing career.
Yeah.
I think he probably juiced before the game, not between
right.
at-bats. But what happened was my shortstop was Brett Saberhagen, who, by the way, was one of the most ridiculous
I didn't realize
athletic,
he was a hitter.
My God. Brett Saberhagen was a flat ball, basketball, shortstop with unbelievable range. He was the best athlete on the team that could do everything.
Yeah.
And so in Little League, he was your pitcher, and he was your leading home run guy and your shortstop. That's usually But he had come to the mound. He had seen me throw for a couple innings, and when Canseco came up, he said, low and away. Mm-hmm. Okay, he fouled off a couple, and Canseco and I had a fun relationship where we were always jabbing each other. He's digging in with
be careful how you say that,
an 0-2 count. I know. He was digging in with an 0-2 count, and I told him, cutter. I mouthed that I was going to throw him the cutter. And I think he thought that I was lying and I was going to come back with a slider off, and I threw a cutter, and he was just guessed wrong, and I got him. And he told me when I was coming in, it was the last out of the inning, when I was coming into the dugout, he was taking off his helmet, his batting gloves. He said, throw me that pitch again. And so I was like, no, I'm not going to throw him that pitch again. So when I got him down, it was like 2-2. The next at-bat, I looked back to Saberhagen, and Saberhagen gave me the head nod, like, give him the cutter.
Yeah.
And he was thinking that there was no way I was going to throw him that again. And I threw him that again, and he hit it over the fence.
I was going to say that I've never faced anybody famous, but I did play in a charity softball game with some former athletes. That counts.
Right. Joe Charbonneau was one of them, wasn't
Joe was there, Len Barker, Carlos Baerga, although Carlos was on my team.
Mm-hmm. He was your teammate then.
He was so fun. But the best guy on the other team, I believe I remember correctly, was Travis Hafner, and I was playing first base. And Travis Hafner came up. I went to the outfield grass.
the Hafner shift.
And he, of course, hit it over the right field fence.
Yeah.
But at the Lake Erie Crushers field out in Avon.
Was there a softball fence set up, or did he hit that over the baseball?
No, he hit it over the fence.
Okay, that's a shot.
Yeah.
That's a shot.
I actually played. This was only like 3-4 years ago, and I played a decent first base. I didn't make any errors.
That's awesome.
I caught every ball.
That's great.
Nice. I'm changing I played Kyrie Irving and Michael Kidd-Gilchrist in the same team. That was actually the answer.
Oh, yeah, Kyrie.
They beat us by like 95. It was so bad.
All
right, last one before we leave. We skipped the Cavs topics. This is the Cavs question from Carlos Plaza. We have 3 minutes, so keep an eye on the clock. Who's a better matchup for the Cavs in the first round, the Knicks or the Nets?
Nets.
At this point, the Nets. They've been stripped down, and if you lose to the Nets, we definitely
They're playing
have
good
problems.
right now, though, G. They're playing
really
good
but
right
they're
now.
up and down. They also look like crap 10 days ago.
Fact.
And here's my thing with the Knicks. They're a great road team.
And they're well coached.
And they're well coached.
And they got two guys that can get you forward.
Jalen Brunson's playing at a superstar level right now.
I'll say this. If they lose the first round to either of those teams, this season in my book, goes down as
huge failure.
A failure.
I have to disagree with Campy Russell.
Yeah.
This ain't no wait and see for these first 2
now
rounds.
you're not getting past Milwaukee in round 2, no matter what you do.
That's fine. I can start smelling the roses then.
Yeah, but you know what I want?
Be
I want a
competitive.
6-game series with Milwaukee so we can maximize that experience.
To me, if they lose a competitive 6-game series to Milwaukee, that's impressive.
Oh, the year was a success.
Yes.
If they can do that.
Don't let it go Game 7.
Yeah.
Because
you never know.
There's a Game 7 in Milwaukee with the pesky Cavaliers. I can see that.
And you know what? They'll be showing Jimmy Haslam courtside rooting for the Bucks.
That's right.
Yep.
That's
not a good look.
Mike, do you want to squeeze in a quick one before overtime?
I don't know if any of these are super quick. I'll ask you guys one real quick. Best Irish food. Favorite Irish food?
Corned beef.
Corned beef.
You have any Irish food you like?
Nothing.
Beer batter.
Potatoes?
I got nothing. Well,
Fish and chips.
okay, potatoes.
Fish and chips counts.
Are potatoes really an Irish food?
Well,
Is that an everything
the
food?
Irish potato
It's how they
famine.
survived the famine. So, I mean, and most Irish dishes have potato in them because of that.
That's true.
And I love potatoes, guys. I can eat. You know what I like? This will freak you guys out. Try this. Peel a potato, get a salt shaker, throw some salt on the potato, and eat it raw. Now, I know you're thinking,
Really?
what? Try it.
Like an apple.
That's how Jay stays in shape.
Try it.
By the way,
Raw potatoes.
It fills you up and it's 0 calories.
And if you cut
it fills you up.
A potato's not 0 calories.
Not
Very
zero.
little calories. Very little.
If you cut a
in its
potato
raw
in half
form.
and you don't have
Cereal's
windshield
0.
wipers,
You don't get more calories when you cook it.
When you bake it, or fry it, like
Well,
French
fry
fries.
it, yeah, but you bake it. It's the same
But
amount of calories.
Google how many calories are in one potato.
McNuggets, if you chop
Very few.
if you chop a potato in half and your windshield wipers don't work, wipe half a potato on your window, it will beat off. Facts.
See you on
It will
Monday.
beat off on overtime next.